There we go. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the ANC 6E November meeting. I can't believe it's November already. We'll give people a minute to filter in. There's Kevin.
There we go.
Hi, Kevin. How you doing?
Hi, Kevin.
All right. I've been waiting a long time for it to come on.
We're happy you're here.
All right, thank you.
So fun.
Okay, again, welcome everyone. I'm gonna let people filter in here. ANC 6E meeting, November 1st. Why don't we just go ahead and get started with the roll call? So I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and we'll start the roll call.
Okay, 6001.
Okay, that's me, present.
6002.
I am present.
Okay, 6003 is Frank, and Frank is no longer with us. 6004, me, present.
Yep.
6005, Denise is more than likely will not make it.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Patrick.
Present.
present.
Patrick is here. 6005, Patrick is here. 6006 is Denise, and she's not here. And 6007.
Here.
Okay,
Kevin's here. We have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much. The next Madam Vice Chair, there's a hand up. It's one of our presenters from later on. Should we see what this person wants? I think it's too late now. I've already mentioned it. Let's ask Victoria what if there's anything we can do for her at this point.
I just had gotten on early to do a sound audio or a sound video check, but it's all good. I can.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we don't really do that here on these sessions. Thank you for your. We'll figure it out when your time comes.
And we hear you.
Okay, yeah, that accomplished that. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, onward. Approval of the agenda. The agenda was posted online Sunday, a week ago plus Sunday. What day was that? And with one edit made since then, circulated via email to the commissioners. Does anyone have any comments about the agenda? And if not, can I get an approval?
I have, Michael, I have one edit. I think, I'm not sure what the number is, but the settlement agreement for Quattro Osteria is still under negotiation. So that's, I think we could strike that from the agenda. And regarding the legal counsel, I can reserve that for the expenses at the end.
Okay. So we can go ahead and nix item 20. That works for me. I feel like no. Okay, let's go ahead and just nix item 20. Any other comments about the agenda? And if not, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the November agenda.
And second.
Second.
And all in favor, vote by signify by vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that was unanimous. Okay, thank you so much. We have an agenda. Minutes. Did we get minutes? Michelle, I think
I'm sure we did. Let's check real quick.
I think maybe we didn't get minutes.
Michael, I have minutes linked to in the draft agenda or the annotated agenda.
Okay, dude. All right. Well, let's. For some reason, I don't.
Well, we can move on. We can, if we can. Yeah, here they are. She sent them.
Okay. All right. Well, then I must have spaced on that. So does
Patrick
anyone
had a
want-
couple edits.
Okay, I mean, I've been Space Cadet lately, so does anybody want to approve or make a motion that we approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the October minutes.
Okay,
I second.
okay, all in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye,
Aye.
okay, unanimous vote of the approval of the minutes. Thank you very much. I don't know why I spaced on that. On to the next item on the agenda is item 4, PSA report from Metropolitan Police Department 1D. Do we have Justin Roth on the line? Please raise your hand. Be unmuted.
See. Lieutenant Fleming.
Yeah. This is 1D part south of New York Avenue. Maybe we do not have. Let's see. I had some emails this week about this. I think it was this item. Getting off to a rocky start here, people. I think it'll be fine though. Well, we can go ahead and if okay, well, moving right along with no representation from 1D, let's move on to item 5, which is 3D MPD 3D Lieutenant Fleming.
Hello,
Hello, Lieutenant Fleming, welcome.
thank you, thank you. Hey. All right, I'll get started with a little brief overview of the stats for the last 30 days. I was gonna say we had a decrease in pretty much everything. Theft from autos are down, thefts are down, motor vehicle thefts are down, burglaries are down. Assaults with dangerous weapons are down. We were down in robberies until a couple hours ago, so now we're even with robberies over the last 30 days. I'll just give you a brief overview of the 4 robberies we had over the last 30 days. So on October 3rd in the 1500 block of New Jersey Avenue, we had a robbery where 2 suspects punched the juvenile victim, then took his phone and shoes. That case is still under investigation, still open, ongoing investigation. On October 16th, in the 1700 block of 8th Street, we had an incident where 2 victims were standing outside of the vehicle when another vehicle approached. 2 suspects exited, brandished firearms, and demanded the victim's property. The suspects took the victim's purse and money before fleeing in the victim's vehicle. And then on October 25th, we had an incident in the 1700 block of New Jersey Avenue, where while the victims were fueling their vehicle, 2 suspects approached and demanded the victims exit their vehicle while tapping on the window with a firearm. The victims complied and the suspects fled in the victim's vehicle. All these cases are still open and ongoing investigations. And then I just sent out a next door notification about a robbery we had in the 1500 block of 7th Street about 3 hours ago now, where in an establishment, they were counting the money, the week's take in money. And while they were doing that, someone came inside and snatched the till containing about $11,000 in US currency and fled in a silver Nissan Altima. That one just happened, so we're still, just like all the others, actively investigating it. Are there any questions, concerns about ANC 6E north of New York Avenue?
Looks like Commissioner Nigro.
Of course. So, hey, Lieutenant. So I have a robbery on October 19th. This is the one by Dunbar. Is that I think I have my date correct.
So, let me check.
And of course, the murder. I mean, that's not forget about that. This is 200 block of N Street. They're wearing masks and they're armed with a gun. This is in the afternoon.
I'm trying to pull it up because I'm not aware of that one over the last 30 days.
So I have that one. So that was, no, you guys tweeted that out of you. Well, we all knew about it. So, I posted, but that did happen on the 19th. Okay, well, get back to me. It's okay. We don't want to hold things up. And then, so let me ask you this. So about we're so for people who are not familiar with horrific murder in our area last week with a passenger shooting a driver in a car, and that this literally happened in front of the firehouse at New Jersey and N Street. So do we not know that any reason why yet or anything, or is it just we just knew they knew each other?
Yeah, we don't have any more information that we can release right now. While it's still an ongoing investigation until there's until there's a conviction. Still an ongoing investigation, so we can't release any more information than what was already released in the press briefing.
Okay, and then the jump out that happened the other night where there was the manhunt, was the third person ever found?
If that's the one you sent me the email about, that was on the first district. So I understand they had 3 arrests in reference to that, but I don't have any more information about
So they found, okay, right, okay. I can double check with them. And so let's, if you don't mind, can we talk about what's going on with the high school kids, with the Dunbar kids on Ridge and N Street and 4th Street and the 200 block of N Street? I have been in contact with the principal and with their liaison and the safety people. And I know the commander responded to an email. Yes, how can MPD assist? And so let me tell everyone what's going on. So I think Ed can back me up. Every day before school, basically we have high school kids, how do you put, smoking marijuana obsessively for a very long time on these blocks, and they don't move on to school. So I alerted the principal and they were supposed to be moving the kids on, but what lieutenant can MPD do? This goes on and on and on. And they sit on the stoops and they don't move. And Ed, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, the alley.
And the alley?
Yeah, like it starts around 2 o'clock. So I'm assuming these are kids that never quite made it into school. Sit on the stoop in the alley, the steps in the alley at 2:12 and 2:10. Again, smoking pot. Yeah, they urinate in my, on my property in the back, because I got a camera that, great, I get to see somebody taking a whiz, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's becoming chronic again.
It doesn't, on Ridge Street is a lot. So I don't know. I don't know what any more I can do, but beyond work with the principal and their safety people.
Yeah,
What
so
can you guys do?
someone recently brought this to our attention, so we have signed.
Me.
Yeah, so we have had officers go in the area during these times. I would encourage you to call 911 if you see kids hanging out smoking. These kids need to be in school, and it's, as police officers, it's our job to ensure that they're taken back to school if they're running around. We're always looking around for truants who need to be returned to school. If you give us a call, let us know there are truants running around, we can get them back in school.
So this is every day. And I've seen it. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. It's like there are just so many. Isn't that, we're just not talking to like 1 or 2 people. We are talking large groups.
Yeah, so during the evening hours after school, we've got officers. We've gotten to the point where we have to assign officers to go through these areas and ensure these kids are behaving if they want to hang out after school. But during school hours, we're constantly looking for truants. If you see them gathering in large groups during school hours, please let us know. We would love to take them back to school.
Okay, and I'll continue to work with Principal Smith. But she only has her purview there. So, but they said that they would assist with moving the safe passage team members into my area. But I'm not sure if it's having an effect, so.
Commissioner Nigro,
Yes, sir.
when you spoke with the principal, right? Did she say that they have truancy officers or just safety command?
So they have what's called the Safe Passage Team, which,
I seen that team.
yeah, so they wear the green vests, and normally they're literally right in front of the high school. So I went over there and talked with them and said, we need your help beyond the high school, literally 2 blocks over. I emailed Principal Smith, and then she has I can't remember her name now, the liaison that deals with this. And they said they were gonna move over. Now, I haven't had a chance last week to physically be present. I think I need to be present and see if anything is happening. That's what's gonna happen, so.
Well, from my observance, right, the safety officers that's out there know the crowd that's hanging on the corner.
Yep,
You know?
yep.
So basically what we used to call them back in the day, dropouts. They're not just hanging there. They're not going back to school.
We hope they go back to school, Kevin. So that's,
Yeah, well, you let us know. We'll make sure they go back to school.
okay, all right. We'll be in touch.
One other question, just for the point of like, what are school hours? For those of us who don't have kids in school, we may not know what the school hours are. You said if they're hanging out during school hours, what are those hours?
For us, it's 9 to 2, where our truant hours are. We can pick them up and take them back to school.
Okay, that's very helpful. Okay, any other comments from commissioners? Do we have any questions from the public? Feel free to raise your hand. If you're on the phone, dial *9, or you can ask a question in the Q&A. This is for area north of New York Avenue in 6E. And seeing none, I will, Lieutenant Fleming, thank you for your time, and let you get on with your evening. Thank you for keeping up. Okay, we are running a little hot, but let's see, do we have our item 6, Mayor's Office Rep Amoker Jasmine Coylton. Jasmine, are you here with us this evening? Oh, it looks like Brittany Parks is raising her hand. Greetings. Brittany, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Thank you.
I was having computer issues, so I do apologize. I had to call in from my phone, but I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Brittany Parks. I'm with Mokers as well. So I was previously a part of the Ward 2 team, so I've transitioned over. So now moving forward, I will be helping out Jasmine Coylton and joining 6E meetings going forward as well.
Great. Do you have an update from the mayor's office for us?
As far as an update, Jasmine wanted me to mention that she's working on a few tasks that she got from the walk that she did with Commissioner Blackston. And then I also just wanted to provide my contact information as well as an alternative point of contact moving forward if you have any other issues or anything that needs to be addressed.
Okay, that sounds fine. Did you want, there's no way for you to add a chat, but if you want, but once you're no longer a presenter, you can add something to the Q&A, and then you could drop your email address in there, and then we can share it with the audience.
Okay, yes, I'll do that.
Okay, and so I guess, is that it?
Yes, sir. That's it for today.
Okay, because we didn't get an update last time either. So anyway, that's fine. We'll look forward to an update from you or Jasmine in December.
Yes, that is correct.
Sounds great. Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, take care. And then off to item 7. We have Brian Romanowski on the phone. There he is, Brian. Welcome. Yep, his hand is raised. So he popped to the top. Now he's gone. Now he's back. This platform is murderous. There we go. Welcome, Brian.
Hello, sorry,
Hi,
tech slow on everybody's end tonight, I guess. Well, nice to see you all. I hope everybody had a safe and happy Halloween. I'll jump right into my updates. So first, Councilmember Pinto is hosting in-person one-on-one office hours at the Wilson Building. We started these last week, but if you'd like to meet with her still, You can sign up for a time on November 7th or December 9th. And I'll post a link in the chat so you can sign up or in the Q&A. And I'll post links to everything else that I mentioned in the Q&A as well after I'm done speaking. In terms of public safety, Councilmember Pinto is still focused on improving public safety. It is the top concern we hear about from neighbors in Shaw. She held a community meeting with Attorney General Racine, U.S. Attorney Graves, MPD Chief Conti, and the Trigger Project a few weeks ago. If you weren't able to attend, we have a video of the event available on our website, and I'll post a link to that. And thank you to all the commissioners who were able to join us. It's important to have you guys there and have your advocacy for your neighborhood. Councilmember Pinto is also joining MPD on bike patrols this month. So she and I joined Lieutenant Fleming, who was just on patrol around the Howard Theater area. And we also went down 7th Street and went over to 7th and O, and we discussed the different challenges MPD is facing and ways that we want them to improve safety in our neighborhoods. So thanks, Lieutenant Fleming, for letting us ride along with you. Councilmember Pinto also recently joined Councilmember Nadeau at a meeting on 7th and T Streets to discuss the challenges there with drug use and other crime in the area. We met with business owners and just had a conversation about what's going on and some of the challenges and ways to actually get some change over there. We also saw some of you at the Ward 2 community bike ride 2 weekends ago now. We had perfect weather finally, so thank you to everyone who joined us. We started at the Kennedy Rec Center and went from there. So Commissioners Eichler and Lopez, thanks for joining us. We had a pretty robust discussion about ways to make our streets and sidewalks safer for all road users. And that kind of ties in with Councilmember Pinto also joined Commissioner Lopez and Seton Elementary School parents on 6th and 7th Streets to discuss how to make those streets safer. And I know you're going to discuss that more later in your meeting tonight. The council continues to have a very, very busy legislative agenda. The temporary legislation that allows for virtual ANC meetings like this expires on November 19th. And I know you guys asked me about this last time. So today legislation was introduced and passed at the legislative meeting that allows these meetings through mid-February 2023. And then permanent legislation is also being discussed, but has not been introduced yet. The council also passed their first of 2 votes on the revised Criminal Code Act at today's legislative meeting. This is the first comprehensive review and update to DC's criminal code since 1901. The review has been a culmination of more than a decade of work, or a decade and a half of research rather, and collaboration among experts with input from stakeholders in our community. And the goal is to ensure that our criminal code is clear, fair, and just. It is pretty complicated. It's 450 or so pages, but I will put a link to a summary of the bill in the chat, and it should also have the full bill in there as well. And I know people have a lot of questions about that, so hopefully the summary will help answer some of those. I also want to note that the Transportation and Environment Committee held a hearing on Friday on Councilmember Henderson and Pinto's Right Sizing Residential Permit Parking Regulation Amendment Act. And then right after that, DDOT released results of a study that Councilmember Pinto funded in 2022 to collect data on parking challenges in DuPont Circle. They just used DuPont Circle as the study area instead of doing all of Ward 2. So I'm going to put a link to that as well. It's a pretty interesting report. And we want to review that obviously as we're considering any changes to residential parking, because again, we know this is really contentious and a lot of people have different feelings on it. So we don't want to move forward with anything that doesn't have the support of the majority of the community. Just a few other notes. As a reminder, leaf collection for Ward 2 begins this weekend on the 6th, so on Sunday. I'll post a link in the chat with the map and the schedule. And finally, I want to remind everybody to vote. Election day is Tuesday the 8th, and you have a lot of options to vote early. You can submit your mail-in ballot via any of the ballot drop boxes between now and Election Day at 8 p.m. I voted at the Shaw Library, so you can use that Dropbox location since that should be convenient for a lot of you. You can also vote early in person, and that's taking place now through Sunday the 6th from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can vote at any location in DC, regardless of your ward or ANC. I think a lot of people don't know that. So just if you're out doing errands somewhere or you're in a different part of the city and you're near a vote center, you can vote in a different neighborhood. They have the full voter roll on file everywhere now. The Ward 2 locations, though, are the MLK Library, the West End Library, and the Georgetown Library for the early voting locations. You can go to the Board of Elections website. They have a really helpful map. You can just type in your address and it'll tell you the locations nearest you. It'll tell you all the different kinds of locations, be it early vote or same day vote or election day voting, or the mail ballot drop boxes. And they also tell you the wait times. So I looked today and it looked like there were no wait. It was like 5 minutes or less at every single early voting center. But again, maybe it'll get more busy as we move towards Sunday. And so you can check on there. If you do run into any issues that prevent you from voting, if you get there and they tell you something's wrong, contact the Board of Elections first. But if something goes wrong with that, or they don't respond to you quickly and you're worried, contact me and I can try to troubleshoot it and make sure that you're able to vote before the end of the day on the 8th. And I think that is all the updates that I have.
Thanks so much for that, Brian. Do we have any comments from commissioners?
Me.
Commissioner Nigro.
So, okay, so I just want to make it clear, Brian, because my constituents are going to be writing letters about the whole parking zone thing. And I'll be writing a letter on their behalf. I'll tell you one thing, I'm just going to be honest, and I don't know what other commissioners think, or my constituents want everything to remain the same. They want their zone and they want to be able to drive west. And that is the reality check. And if anyone says any different, they are very naive. So when you have that zone too, they're heading west, and I've talked to many of them, and I'll be writing an email and they will be writing their own, because I think that comments are due on the 11th, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
correct.
so open to 11. Go west. So that is their honest opinion. They don't care. They don't want to be locked into the ANC, and there you go. And so I attended that crime meeting, and I appreciate that Councilmember Pinto visited different locations and all this. But what is she honestly like saying? I mean, what is she like telling the police to do? I mean, what is this? I mean, I can stand on 7th and 02 and talk to, like, what is she doing? Like, what is she emphasizing? What is she emphasizing with the police?
Well, I think, well, first of all, with the public safety meeting, I think one of the goals of that was a lot of times people just point fingers at each other. So we wanted to get everybody in the same room and actually have them talk out what their problems are. Because, you know, constantly we hear, well, people get arrested, but then they're released immediately. And that's what the police will tell you. And then you get to the U.S. Attorney's Office and they say, well, we're prioritizing, you know, things as we can, but we can't prosecute everything. So it's the courts. And the courts will say, well, we're trying to do everything we can, but we don't have enough judges. So we're trying to find out what the actual issues are that are preventing us from responding as effectively as we should to crime. And so I think that's the goal of a meeting like that. The ride-alongs with MPD, joining them for the patrols, that's to see our high crime areas, which again, you said we all know generally where some of those are, and see what actual challenges they're facing day to day. So for Lieutenant Fleming, it was, you know, pretty interesting to see, you know, I guess I'm trying to think of what I can say because some of it isn't completely public, but, you know, a lot of times when there's a crime in one area, we know that there's going to be retaliatory crime in another area of the city because different crews, you know, fight with each other. And so the day that we had joined him, there had just been a shooting in Columbia Heights. And so they were saying, well, now we know that something is likely to happen in Shaw in the next few days. And, you know, I'm not trying to invoke fear in anybody that's joining these meetings. But I just want to, you know, that's what we're trying to see how that all works. And yes, we're asking for more bike patrols and foot patrols. That's why we're joining them on bike. We didn't want to join them in the car. We've done that before. And so we're trying to say, hey, get out of your car more often, walk around more often. We want to see you meeting people on the street. People should know who you are. So this is one of the ways that we're trying to impress that upon the officers.
Okay, so I really need them to, I mean, I am my broken record about the foot patrol, and I will not stop talking about it. That is what we need, is a public relation things too. And I talked to Lieutenant Fleming and the commander, get out of the car and walk around. Now, that said, when I was at the meeting, I think everyone was a little surprised. My constituents, you heard me at that meeting, my constituents, many of them want people convicted and they want them sitting in jail. And so this is where we're at. And I don't know what the council member thinks. I wasn't really given a clear answer what she thinks, but I can be honest with you that many, many of my constituents want that. And so I think it's naive that neither my constituents and many people around the city, you know, they're beyond the touchy-feely thing now. They want the criminals off the street.
Got it.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
But I don't know what she thinks. I can't tell. So can you give me, what does she think about that? Or do you know?
I'm sure she would say, and I can say this with confidence, if somebody's committing a crime, that they should be prosecuted and face justice for what they've done.
Okay.
Do we have any other comments from commissioners? Any questions or comments from the public? This is our Ward 2 rep, Councilmember Pinto's office. And seeing none, thank you very much for your report, Brian, and we'll let you go and drop some things in the Q&A, and then we'll share them once you drop it off. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. So we have been joined, or we had been joined. Oh, there we go. Yes, so we have been joined by our item 4 individual, Justin Roth. Can we go back to PSA report for 1D, that's the area south of New York Avenue, to get a quick report from, is it Lieutenant Roth?
Sorry.
Greetings.
Can you hear me? Sorry about that. I was on another call that ran over.
No worries.
Yeah, so for the PSA report, unfortunately, I don't really have, I don't know if my counterpart from 3D was on earlier, but our system that records all of our stats it's down. It's been down since the 25th. It's supposed to be coming back up in the next couple of days. So any information I give you would be dated. And it wouldn't be the freshest. So really what I wanted to do is just on this call, is just try to get as many concerns as I can and that I can act on, and see what I can do for you guys, other than just give you crime stats. So if there's any pressing issues, Commissioner Parledge, I just saw your email about the homeless encampment, so I'll take a look and see what I can do about that, or where MPD can have a hand in helping. Yeah, as far as that's concerned, I mean, the stats that I can offer are dated, so I don't really want to give them to you. If you want them, I can, but they're not really helpful. Is there anything that's pressing right now that I can help from MPD standpoint?
Commissioners.
So, hey, Captain Roth, thanks for following up on that. So I don't have too many details on that email I forwarded you and a bunch of other people from 1D. I know the subject of that email says homeless encampment. I think it's, judging from the discourse in that conversation, it actually seems like 2 people have started to camp out sort of on private property in the Meridian building that's 425 L Street Northwest, I think. And so I think that usually when I've heard discussions about homeless encampments, that's a slightly different situation, because this one's going on sort of on private property on a residential building. And so if you guys could just follow up with those folks, that would be a big help to me.
Yeah, if they're up there, they can call. I don't know if they have a barring notice mechanism that's in place, but if it's on private property, there's some things that we could probably do there. And then, if we want to do a different approach, then I can see if our community outreach can go up there and maybe try to offer them some resources and then get them into some more permanent housing or something.
Yep, that sounds good. And I see that in that thread, Sir Toby Green had been corresponding with them.
Okay.
That's not someone I'm familiar with. Is that someone in 1D?
Yeah, he's an officer here, so
okay.
That's good that he's on it. I didn't get a chance to look at all of it. Like I said, I wanted to get on this call as fast as possible from the other one.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but that's something we can definitely look at.
Thanks.
Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Rogers?
So there's a comment about that in the chat, Michael.
Oh, that happened. Oh, there we go.
Scott said if the encampment is the one that popped up behind, that's the one though, behind the sign at 4th and New York Avenue, it was gone earlier today. So
I believe that is the one.
Okay, so if it's gone, I mean, maybe it might be something where they're leaving during the day and then coming back. But I mean, we can keep an eye on it.
Thank you.
There's also a compliment for Officer Green. So that's coming through into the Q&A.
Awesome.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, then we'll thank you for your time. Thank you for making it. Late is better than never. So thanks
Yeah.
for showing.
I apologize again. My email is justin.roth, roth@dc.gov. So if you guys need anything, or if you forgot something, just shoot me an email and I'll try to get on it as fast as I can.
Sounds great. Thanks for coming out this evening. Okay, take care. All right, so we're actually caught up on time and on to item 8, report from our Ward 6 Council Member Allen's office, Jean Madison. Sean, are you coming through? Welcome.
I am.
Welcome. How you doing?
Okay. How are you guys doing?
Well, good to see you.
So there's so many things that I'm working on in this part of the ward. Severna on K and all of those properties, the Columbus properties. I really want to give a shout out to Kenyatta Robinson for helping us lift up all of the Columbus properties, which is Severna on K, it's the Grand Families building, it's 307K, it's 43K, it's all, I mean, there's so many of them. And Kenyatta and I are working together to square off all of the issues that, you know, every day are among those issues. Like I can't tell you guys how many things are happening in those buildings. So that's happening. The leaf collection stuff, I don't know if it affects you guys as much as it affects other parts of the ward, but that's happening. There is a meeting that is the leaf collection meeting that I will just manage expectations here. It will be late. Rochelle, you know what I'm talking about.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
The leaf collection stuff.
Well, they just announced it though.
Right. So, you know, we all got beautiful flyers in the mail and it will be.
Not on that.
I'm not saying it will be a failure, but I'm just saying it.
So wait, do I have to write Celeste an email tomorrow in preparation?
I'm just saying. So
your announcement slate hasn't even started yet. Because you know, I worry about my two wards now and mayhem ensuing. So.
Right. I will also say that Councilmember Allen has single-handedly readjusted the criminal code stuff. So if you guys have questions about that, I can connect you with our committee staff. It is a massive undertaking in terms of, I don't know, since like 100 years ago, we have literally not looked at our criminal code. So literally, this is a massive undertaking. And there are many, many questions. I'm happy to connect you with our committee staff to be able to answer some of those questions of the most popular, you know, carjacking. There are definitely some signature pieces of that I can answer, or I can get you the right people to answer those questions. I will put my, where's the chat? So my email is jmattison at dccouncil.gov. And my phone number is 202-330-3092. I'm happy to, you know, I'm available all the time. There are some other things afoot that I can't go into right now, but there are, I believe that our office has topped the survey in terms of how many bills we are passing. So if you have any, if you have any questions about that, the Judiciary Committee on Public Safety is literally the hottest topic of the council in this time. I'm happy to answer any questions or connect you to the right people. But if you have small, large, medium items, you have my email, you have my cell phone. I'm so happy to help you, and please let me know. There are literally meetings that are, I literally want to shout out Kenyatta Robinson again about the work we've done at Plaza West and the model we have produced to conduct a meeting about building-wide meetings that are very, very productive and incredibly inclusive, that we are trying to reproduce at several of their other properties. This is Columbus Properties. I am in touch with the regional manager, and it is very hard work, but we are working on expanding this work, and those residents at all of the other properties that are in this group, it is really hard, but I want you to know that I'm available, and we are working on it. So if there's any questions, any whatever, I'm here. So I'm sorry if I'm bedraggled, but thank you.
Sure thing. Do we have any, thank you for that report. Do we have any questions from commissioners? For our Ward 6?
Michael, I do have a question for Sean. We've been talking about the expected closure of the Northwest One Library for a while, and Commissioner Blackson and I seem to have hit a wall with DCPL in terms of community outreach. They were supposed to put together a community outreach plan for us over the summer, and we keep reaching out, and every month they tell us that they're not ready yet. And as every month ticks down, we're 1 month closer to a potential closure of a really important community resource with the Northwest One Library.
Right.
Is there any way that the councilor's office can apply some pressure, because us volunteer ANCs are not really having much success here?
So Alex, you're talking about DCPL, the site at
Let's talk about the closure of the Northwest One.
Walker Jones, right?
At Walker Jones, correct.
Right. Yeah. So Denise, you and I talked about that, and Councilmember Allen was on that actually
I
came up.
don't think Denise is on the call tonight.
Yeah, I see her here.
That's
actually.
fine. Thank you, Alex.
I'm
Oh,
here. Can you hear me?
Yep. you're
Yes.
coming through. Thank you.
Go ahead, John.
Go ahead, Denise.
I thought you had a question. I heard you say my name.
No, we were Denise, we were talking about, so Alex brought up the library, right?
Uh-huh.
And we were talking about, I know Councilmember Allen is trying to figure out, like, okay, so this is not going to be a full site, right? That DCPL has completely figured out that they are not making this a big site. But what are the community concerns and needs of what we can make this place into at the Walker Jones site, and how can we help with that? And that's sort of where we are. So Denise, I want you to figure out, if you can speak to that tonight, or you want to go back to your community and figure out what kinds of things that would be interesting. And Alex, I welcome that as well. I just want to put that out there.
Okay, on my community safety walk last week, this did come up, the closing of the library. Excuse me. And the community has not even been recognized by DCPL. They have not communicated with the community at all or done any community outreach. That was me and Commissioner Lopez's concern. And we were supposed to get dates from DCPL. And as he shared, they have now keep postponing, and they haven't met with us again. So we can discuss, because we want to bring it to the community and get their input. But as you can see on the safety walk, the library was a big concern.
Yeah.
The closing of the library was a big concern. So we do need some assistance hearing from DCPL about community engagement and giving us another meeting date.
And I feel like the mayor's office, I don't know if they're still on, can help with that. But I feel like we have to have realistic expectations here too, as Councilmember Allen said on that walk, in terms of what is going to happen there.
Yes, residents was concerned that there is no place for community programs. There's no place, the young man that was on the walk, one of the children that was on the walk,
Yeah.
he says he goes to that library every day after school. So it's a high concern for the community, as you heard from other leaders sharing that library was promised to the Northwest community, and they do not want it to close. So that's all I can say about that for now, because we're looking forward to some type of community engagement, because I don't know how they make plans for the community without addressing the community and the need with all this new building that's happening, new developments coming up here in our area.
No, and I want to take a moment, actually. I don't know if I did this before, but to commend Denise Blackson for the safety walk we did. She had, I will say, there were violence interrupters that were there that I haven't met before. I do this work a lot, and I feel like some of the folks that were there, including community members, it was really powerful. And I really want to commend Commissioner Blackson on this walk. It was, I don't know how much we got done. There's a lot of follow-up, right, Denise? But
right.
I do think that there were connections made with violence interrupters and MPD and whatever that we need to follow up on. It's a really powerful connection that sometimes in these neighborhoods, including this one, which is incredibly powerful with the violence that goes on there and the violence and the trauma that neighbors have endured, that it's really important to follow up on this stuff. And if there are neighbors who are listening, I really think that it's important to engage on this issue. Commissioner Blackson is definitely engaged, but she could use some help in terms of just folks who are in their neighborhood, or the number of things that you could help her with. I'm sure, Denise, you can put your email in the chat to be able to connect to folks. It's really, really important to follow up on this. Your community walk was very powerful, but that only highlighted all the issues.
Sorry, we're going to have to move on. We're definitely at time here.
My apologies.
And thank you, John. I'll put that in the chat.
John, can I just ask for clarification? So essentially, you're saying that the council member will not help us on this issue because he believes it's a done deal. Like trying to
No,
get
I mean,
DCPL
Alex,
to
I think he
implement
has
some
said
sort
very
of
clearly,
community engagement.
I think he has said super clearly that DCPL is not gonna put a site here. And so what else can we do?
I think it's disappointing that the council member, this is not a priority for him.
I'm not saying
They
that,
just feel
no.
like it,
So
but the council member is not providing any resources for this. Okay, thank you.
sorry, out of respect for the time of everyone else on the agenda, I'd really like to move on. If we need to have a DCPL Charles Allen conversation at the December meeting, we can do that. I would actually just like to ask one quick question. I mean, I've heard that that the new the crime bill rewrite decriminalizes public urination and defecation. Is that true?
You're asking me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, John, I am. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know, actually. I will find out and get back to you, but I do know that this is a huge lift. The RCCA is an enormous lift.
Okay. Cool. All right. I'm seeing in the comments that that is not true. I just want to make sure that
Okay, let me bring those up. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It wasn't published to the group.
Sorry.
You're not seeing it because it's a Q&A and I
Okay.
didn't answer the question. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael.
I just know that there's a lot of stuff going on and there are a lot of moving pieces and it's Charles' signature bill. So I just want to make sure that if there's any disinformation going on around it, that it would be helpful to really understand what's in
If
it.
anybody has any questions about the criminal code stuff, I will put my email in the chat and I will connect you with the right folks. Let's just say that.
That sounds good. Okay, we do have to move on. If the DCPL question needs a larger audience, a bigger time, then this 5-minute update is not the right time. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we will have to move on to the next item. Thank you very much. Okay, and then do we have Kelly Sislo here for a Ward 5 representation?
Award, no enclave information at the moment. We'll be moving forward with new reps after November.
Hopefully.
We'll invite them.
Okay, so then moving on to item 6. Sorry, I'm a little flustered. So item 10, we are moving on to our ABRA items. Can we get our ABRA chair, Alex Padro, moved forward, as well as our first licensee, which is Josh Saltzman. And I'll try to clear out these questions in the Q&A or push them through.
Good evening, commissioners, and sorry for having to do this remotely, but had another commitment immediately after this. Can you hear me all right?
You're coming through fine. Thank you, Alex.
Great. Thank you. So do we have the Avon County representative on, Josh Saltzman? Yeah, unfortunately, they were the victims of the robbery that the 3D representative mentioned earlier. So
I've pushed him through, hopefully.
Okay. Well, then let me go ahead and give you the basic information on this licensee. This is Ivy and Coney, located at 1537 7th Street Northwest. This is a Class C tavern license. Hours of operation are 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. on the weekends. Hours of entertainment are 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. on the weekends. And they do have a summer garden, a roof deck. Hours of operation there are 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. on the weekends. In terms of investigative history, they thankfully have no investigative history. There have been no violations. we should have a representative from Ivy and Coney here if he would like to share anything about their current and ongoing operations. I can say that the committee recommended that the full commission support the renewal of this license.
Greetings. Josh, do you have any comments for the community?
Hi, sorry. I apologize if it's a little hard to hear me. I'm currently at the bar right now, and it's a little bit loud here. We look forward to continuing to be a part of this neighborhood, and if anyone ever has any questions or concerns or feedback, we're always more than willing to hear from residents and people in the community, and happy to be here.
Sounds great. So, and do we have any feedback from our commissioner for 6002?
No specific feedback.
Great, okay. So can I get a motion?
Yes, I move that ANC 60 supports the renewal of a Class C tavern license for Ivy and Coney and communicate the support to Abra.
Is there a second?
I second.
I second. Oh,
Yeah, that was Rochelle. And all in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
aye.
Is there any opposed? And any abstentions? Sorry, so, and we do have all 6 of us here this evening, so thank you for that. Thank you, Josh, for coming out this evening. We look forward to seeing you in a few years. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, so just before we go too fast, I actually think I skipped item 10, which is Shaw's Tavern. Do we have Rob on the call?
Yes, he's down. He's here. He's in the room.
Okay, great. Sorry about that, Rob. We skipped
problem.
Great. So I'll go ahead and get started. Shaw's Tavern at 520 Florida Avenue Northwest is a Class C tavern license. Hours of operation 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday. On the weekends 8 a.m. to 3 a.m. Hours of entertainment are 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. on Sundays, 6 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Monday through Thursdays, no, Monday through Fridays, and then Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Hours of sidewalk cafe operation are 11 a.m. To 12 a.m. on Sundays, 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Monday through Fridays, and then Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. And they did have one item in their investigative history since the last renewal, and it was from 2021 related to failure to control litter. And I'm sure that Rob would be able to address that this evening. The commission the committee did vote to recommend that the full commission support the renewal of this license.
Thanks so much. Any feedback from you, Mr. Helm?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, regarding the trash, can everybody hear me, by the way? Sorry.
Yep, you're coming
Okay.
through fine.
We were with Tenleytown Trash up until 2021, and we were having difficulties with them picking up 7 days a week, or they were missing our stops. So we changed over to KMG at that time. We have had a couple of issues with them, but they've been much better, and they're great in responding to pick up. We don't have any loading dock or anything as such. So when the trash is full on a busy weekend, we do need to make sure that they are there, and I have all my managers checking daily to make sure that the trash is taken care of.
Appreciate that. We do no longer have Alex Lopez on the line. He must have dropped off. So I'll go ahead and ask if there's a motion to support this renewal.
I move that ANC 60 support the renew for Shaw's Tavern for their Class C license.
And is there a second?
I second.
Great. So moved by Commissioner Nigro, seconded by Commissioner Blackson. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And are there any opposed? And any abstentions? So, okay, thank you very much for coming out this evening. We look forward to seeing you around the community.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sure thing. And then moving on to item 12, which is support for a Class C tavern license for Prathers on the Alley. Do we have Dean on the line?
I'm here. Good to see you.
Welcome, Dean. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing fine.
So this is Rhythm and Eats LLC, Prathers on the Alley at 455 I Street Northwest, Class C tavern license. Hours of operation Sunday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 1 a.m., Fridays and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. No entertainment endorsement. Hours of sidewalk cafe operation are 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. And in terms of investigative history, there are three items from 2021 related to submission of quarterly reports and a change of a trade name without approval, for which a warning was issued. So warnings were issued on all of those. So the committee heard Dean's presentation and recommended that the full commission support the renewal of the license.
Any comments from Commissioner Parley?
Hey, Dean, thanks for being here.
Patrick?
I often solicit feedback from my newsletters in the run up to these. Didn't get any feedback on this one, so no concerns from a residential standpoint. No other general concerns. So happy to pass it to Dean if you want to say a few words, and I can make the motion whatever you need.
Of course, thank you. In regards to the warnings that Commissioner Paggio just brought up, we during COVID had allowed our space to be used as a pop-up for a different concept, and the operators at that time were just non-compliant and following the necessary rules to stay in business. So we did not find about those warnings until after we decided to part ways. So as of today, in our current iteration of that business, we are fully caught up on everything. And just one note is that we do have our trade name changed to Bar Chinois with DCRA, and we'd applied for it with ABRA, so that's in the process.
Do you have any comments from other commissioners or the community? And seeing none, Mr. Parley?
I move that ANC 6E support the renewal of Class C tavern license for Prathers on the Alley located at 455 I Street Northwest and communicate that support to ABRA.
And do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Parley and seconded by Commissioner Nigro. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that looks like all five of us have said yes. Alex Lopez has temporarily dropped off again, so that's a 5-0-0. Thank you very much for coming out this evening.
Thank you, committee. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. And then on to item 13, which is, well, Alex Padre, why don't you go ahead and announce item 13?
Sure. So actually, I'd like to suggest that we move 13 to the end of the renewals list because Commissioner Lopez was checking on something that I think is germane for the commission's hearing on this particular renewal. So if we could move on to number 14.
And just verify that 13 is actually in 6005, which is Commissioner Parley's SND.
Oh, okay. So I've got them in a different order. I apologize. I had 600T. And that's
Sorry, we've got that listed as 14. So 13 is Melange.
Great. I will
have
Is there the representative from Melange here?
Elias.
I don't see the person at the moment. Elias, I don't see. If there's somebody else, I'll be happy to move them over.
I'm trying to get the form for this establishment. Yep, sorry for that. Don't seem to have the file for Melange handy, so I can't offer the hours of operation. But
Do you want me to read those? You want me to read those from the placard?
You'd be so kind.
I would not mind. Really, let me just open that up real quick. Placard for Melange. Okay, thanks to Alex Lopez in his annotated agendas. So we have an entertainment endorsement, and we have hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday, and until 3 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Hours of sales are the same, and entertainment hours are 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days.
And there was no investigative history for this applicant, and the committee did recommend that the full commission support the renewal of the license. So we did have the licensee participate in the committee meeting.
Okay, that's good to know. Commissioner Parley, any comments?
No concerns from me or any of the folks who I talked to about this.
Okay, any community comments? Hearing, there's 600T. You're not yet. You're up next. Okay. So any community comments about Melange? Hearing none. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I move that ANC 6E support the renewal of Class C tavern license for Melange located at 449 K Street Northwest and communicate that support to Abra.
And a second?
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded by Commissioner Parley and Commissioner Nigro. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I think I heard Kevin in there too. We still do not have Commissioner Lopez, so that is a 5-0-0. Thank you very much for that item. And now we do have 600T. Well, 600T had popped up for a second, but do we still want? Oh, and now Commissioner Lopez is back. Alex Lopez, are you able to join us? You have a stable connection? Commissioner Lopez, are you able to join us now?
Yes, sorry, I didn't catch the last item. So
We're on to 600T. Are you capable of addressing that item now?
yeah, okay, 600T, I'm actually not sure what the commission should do. The application for renewal does not include an endorsement for the summer garden, which the 600T has. The applicant has said that they are in the process of applying for a summer garden with DCRA, but it's entirely unclear if we could support the renewal given the deficiency of the placard or of the application. So I would actually, I don't know if Alex Padro is on the line and has any guidance in this type of situation.
Sure, yeah, so unfortunately, Mr. Lawrence wasn't able to join us for the committee meeting, and we did notice the deficiency in the placard, and we'd asked Commissioner Lopez to check on the status of that. So under the circumstances, I would recommend that the commission vote to protest the renewal to allow sufficient time to determine exactly what it is that we're approving, and if there are additional applications that need to be filed, for them to be filed. But that is, of course, up to the commission to decide.
Do you have any further feedback from any commissioners about paths forward from past experiences? And do we want to let the licensee have a quick comment? Mr. Lawrence, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you sure come through.
Great. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a discrepancy of the streetery allowance under Mayor Bowser's COVID scenario that's what put us into an outdoor situation. I tried to fill out whatever forms came to me in regards to that, which to me was the summer garden thing. I'm also applying through DCRA just at the end of all this pandemic scenario to create my CFO's occupancy level to meet the new kind of situation post-COVID. So things were set up in a way that was only out of the situation at hand under the epidemic. I didn't necessarily know. I filled out the form with DC Eatery or Streetery, I'm sorry. And that was how all this came about. And I tried to fill out a couple forms to get things moving, but then I needed to submit some documentation to DCRA to get the CFO up to the level that was required. So I think there's just a kind of a mixed match between DCRA and then the ABRA scenario. And I was a little bit unaware, I guess, of which department needed what and how to make this maintain itself basically during the COVID outdoor situation. So that was a pivot. But I'm definitely now I've applied and submitted an application with DCRA to have all these things basically in line with my CFO, which as I've spoke to someone in ABRA before, the ABRA endorsement was approved for the streetery, for the summer garden. But however, I need to have my CFO to also balance the equation. These are things that I'm just trying to work out now, but it was also out of the context of COVID to where the outside seating was set up. So that, I think that's where kind of the confusion lies. But I am in the process of getting the CFO updated or renewed, I guess, in an updated way that list the summer garden.
And for
That makes
for a point of clarity, are you saying C of O as in certificate of occupancy?
Right, because what I'm told is the certificate of occupancy has to also list the summer garden.
Okay.
That's what I've been told. If that's wrong, please let me know.
I don't.
Yes, so again, what we have in front of us is a placard that does not reflect the summer garden. And that is what caused hesitancy on the part of the committee to make a recommendation related to particular property. If the commission wants to approve the renewal of the existing license without the summer garden, then that's fine. But the understanding is that Mr. Lawrence would have to come back to the commission once he's been placarded for the summer garden.
Okay, I guess I understand. So for me to have the correct kind of hearing what we're doing now with in regards to the summer garden, I need to, because I was already, I think, submitted the summer garden to ABRA, but it wasn't on this placard. Is that because of me or because of something I didn't do? Or how do we make these two things connect?
Again, not having check this directly with ABRA, I'm going to presume that the summer garden permit has never been issued, so therefore there should not be service taking place in the summer garden. And what the commission can approve or support is the renewal for the base license without the summer garden.
Okay, yeah, and that's fine. That's fine.
I think that makes sense. I mean, the commission approving the placard as placarded doesn't give approval to operate the summer garden, and I think that's on ABRA and the applicant to quickly get that in order. Given that we don't have any investigative history here, I don't see why the commission wouldn't support a substantial change for this application to add a summer garden endorsement. So that's where I'm at. So I would support the application, or the renewal as placarded, and that doesn't necessarily give support for 600T to operate outside the bounds of what its current license stipulates.
Do we have any feedback from the community about 600T? Okay, so Commissioner Lopez, would you care to make a motion?
Yeah, let's say move that ANC 6T support the renewal for 600T for a Class C tavern license as placarded, and communicate that support to ABRA.
Great. Do we have a second?
I second.
Commissioner Nigro seconds. And all in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We have Commissioner Rogers. Okay, I got 5 ayes. Do we have any opposed? And any abstentions? Should I take Commissioner Rogers as an abstention since he was not responding to the roll call vote? Well, it wasn't a roll call vote, but all right, so I've got 5-0 and maybe 1 abstention from Commissioner Rogers. Thanks so much for coming out this evening, Mr. Lawrence. Wish you the best of luck getting your summer garden situation figured out.
Great. Just so I get a little clarity, I need to resubmit a summer garden allowance with my DCRA application in conjunction so that this is a clear kind of situation. Is that what I'm understanding from this?
I would recommend that you go back to Abra.
I'm not sure that we can give you that type of advice, but you're going to need to go through a substantial change for your application with Abra to add a summer garden endorsement.
Right, which is through DCRA, substantial change.
Through Abra.
Through Abra. Okay. All right. I'll
Yeah.
work it out. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. Best of luck to you. Okay, moving on to item 15, Lejam. Do we have who's so Anastasia Mori? There we have. Thank you. Welcome.
Lejam is a Class C tavern at 1550 7th Street Northwest. Hours of operation are 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. Friday and Saturday. There is no entertainment endorsement on this license. Hours of sidewalk cafe operation are 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. And the committee did recommend that the full commission support the renewal of this license. There is no investigative history. And Ms. Maury can and also let us know about an upcoming change that they're going to be proposing.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're coming through fine. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, we just actually applied as of last Friday, I believe, for a live entertainment license. The goal is to potentially on a monthly base have some indoor concerts, more specifically jazz concerts, and again, only indoor. So we applied for the indoor one. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. We did it once through the most recent event of DC Art All Night through a jazz concert, and it was we had amazing feedback, and we just want to renew that.
Sounds great. And as the commissioner for the single mayor district in which your establishment is located, I have not received any negative feedback and only positive feedback about your establishment. However, I have heard one thing. Which is that your streetery, the fencing around it on top of the Jersey barriers is restricting visibility of cars seeing who's in the crosswalk. And my records show that the DDOT communicated this challenge to you a year ago, and I've asked them again to follow up with you. Is there anything you can do or what is your understanding of the status of that sort of fencing around your streetery?
Absolutely. So as of today, it was removed. So I communicated with DDOT and sent them pictures, and we fixed the issue. And just about that communication about a year ago, maybe it was lost in the email, but my understanding was actually the heights of our fencing, not so much that we had a fencing. So we lowered down that fencing about a year ago. And again, my apologies if we didn't get that right, but at least as of today, the problem was fixed.
Okay, well, I appreciate that update. Thank you for being responsive to those concerns. So any other concerns or comments from commissioners or the community about Lejam? And seeing none, I'll go ahead and make a motion that the ANC 6E support the renewal of the Class C tavern license for Lejam located at 1550 7th Street Northwest and communicate that support to Abra. if I get a second.
A second.
That was Commissioner Nigro had seconded. Thank you very much. All in favor of by saying aye? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I heard Alex Lopez. Did I hear Commissioner Rogers? Okay, I'm gonna put, thank you for that vote. I've got 5 yays. Any opposed? And Commissioner Rogers may be an abstention based on his lack of response. So thank you, Ms. Maury, for your report, and best of luck to you.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
Great. And moving on to item 16, Jake's Tavern. Do we have Todd on the call? Todd, I guess, nope, looks, we're moving him over. Hi, Todd. How you doing?
I'm well. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're coming through. Fine. Thank you.
Okay, great.
So Jake's Tavern is a Class C tavern licensee at 1606 7th Street Northwest. Hours of operation, Sundays 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., Monday through Thursday 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., Fridays and Saturdays 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. Hours of entertainment on Sundays 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday, Friday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Hours of summer garden operation are 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Sundays, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. on Fridays, and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. And they have no investigative history. The committee was pleased to recommend to the full commission support for the renewal of this license. And I'm sure that Mr. Ciuba will be able to fill us in on some upcoming plans for changes in operation.
Certainly. So thank you, Alex. Yeah, as Alex said, we've been there a couple of years. No reports on us. We're glad to be part of the neighborhood. We are looking to expand our operation based on the interest from our customers. And I currently have a permit set in with DCRA to complete our second floor, which would be a bar and event space. And with that, expand our summer garden to a back deck off there. I've been communicating with Michael and the Central Shaw community or the Central Shaw Neighborhood Association about our plans and just making sure that we're in lockstep as I apply for the substantial change in the future. But for now, with what's placarded, we're just trying to renew our existing license.
Sounds good. One question I have, again, this is also in my SMD, so I'm happy to see you again, Todd. And a quick note, actually, another commissioner and I popped by one evening and we enjoyed those deep fried cheese curds. They were like insane. But anyway,
good, those are new. Thank you.
It was lovely.
Yeah, it was a lot for 2 people. But I do have a question. So when you sent over your recent, when you recently sent over a copy of your existing settlement agreement, it appeared to be with a different trade name and a different LLC as part of the.
Yeah.
So is there any, do I need to know anything about that? Or is there any concerns about that kind of transitioning over to your new establishment?
No, it's the same parameters. However, if I don't know if you recall, or that building was already under permitting, and there was a different bar owner. It was Joe Engler and his group. We're going to put a bar in there called Trinity. So when I assumed the lease, I kind of took over the settlement agreement, and the liquor license was I guess they called it tabled until I got my permitting and my C of O. So I kind of inherited everything that he had negotiated prior. And the settlement agreement has always just read Trinity. And this probably should be amended, quite honestly. And it came to my attention too when I sent it to you, and realized that that's what's on file with Aber at the moment. And we adhere to everything that's in that agreement.
Yeah, Mr. Lopez, sorry, Mr. Padre, do you have any feedback for me or us about the situation of having the settlement agreement being with a different LLC? Does it just roll over with the liquor license?
I will take a look at the board's order, the ABC board's order, when they accepted the settlement agreement to see whether or not it was accepted for the previous licensee, and if necessary, we can certainly re-execute it with the correct trade name.
Great, because I believe we're going to have to re-execute one anyway eventually, once we get the entertainment endorsement for the upstairs, or the hours changed for the entertainment. So just wanted to raise that, to put it on everyone's radar screens. Okay, so but as of now, we're moving forward with renewal as placarded. Works fine for me. It sounds like your plans are a little slower than you were hoping, and that we probably won't need to make those changes until after the first of the year, maybe. So we'll just move forward with this. As such, I will go ahead and make a motion that ANC 6C support the renewal of the Class C tavern license for Jake's Tavern, 1606 7th Street Northwest, and communicate that support to Abra. Can I get a second?
A second.
Okay, Denise comes through with the second. Finally, you hit the buzzer. So it got moved and seconded. I'm just taking some notes here. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I see everyone, but I still don't see Commissioner Rogers.
I just text him to see if everything was okay.
Okay, well, I will
Good.
continue to put him down as an abstention with a question mark next to it, and we'll keep moving. Thanks for that. Okay, on to the next item, item 17.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Todd. Good to see you. So do we have someone here from Dacha? I've been communicating with David Siegel.
So
should probably-
either Ilya or Dmitry or Sidan.
Yeah, or yeah, did you have any participation at the committee meeting?
Yes, we did. We had both of the owners present.
Okay, so Ilya and Dmitry?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing anyone on the call now, so why don't you go ahead and just give us an update? I apologize, I wasn't able to make the committee meeting, so.
No problem. So this is Dasha Beer Garden at 1600 to 1602 7th Street Northwest. This is a Class C tavern license. Hours of operation are Sunday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m., Friday and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. Hours of entertainment indoors are 6 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Hours of sidewalk cafe operation, which is the exterior, are 7 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Sunday through Thursdays, 7 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. And there were two items on the investigative history. One was related to compliance with the mayor's order related to COVID, which the operators provided a satisfactory response on. And also there was a failure to follow a settlement agreement, which resulted in a $250 fine, and those issues were also addressed. So the committee was pleased to be able to recommend to the full commission support for the renewal of the license.
Thanks for that update. I wish I wish I'd been there on last week. Alex, do you know, was the settlement agreement issue with the trivia night?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure, because I actually did a FOIA on noise complaints and I found that was in the results there. So, okay, well, thanks for that update. If the committee feels that we're prepared to support the renewal, I will do so as well. So I will, any comments from commissioners about Dacha or the public? And hearing none, I'll move that ANC 6C support the renewal of the Class C tavern license for Dacha Beer Garden, 1600 1602 7th Street Northwest, and communicate that support to Abra. If I could get a second.
Second.
Okay, another one from Commissioner Blackson on the buzzer. And do I have all in favor, vote by saying aye? Aye.
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 I think that was 6 ayes. Do I have any opposed? And any abstentions? Okay, I believe I did hear both Kevin and Alex with their ayes from the phones. Okay, on to the next item, item 18, the passenger.
Yes, the passenger is another Class C tavern license at 1539 7th Street Northwest. Hours of operation are 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. Hours of entertainment are 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. They did have 2 items on their investigative history. There was no ABC manager present on one day in February. I don't know if Tom Brown is here. He can explain, otherwise I can explain on his behalf.
We're not seeing Tom Brown on the call tonight.
Okay, so yes, Mr. Brown was the ABC manager on duty that evening, and unfortunately he became ill and was distracted and did not realize that he was the manager on duty. So they did receive a warning on that. They now have trained additional staff, so that there is always an ABC manager available. And the second issue was related to the operation of the Quiqui Puerto Rican pop-up on the second floor. They are in the process of filing a trade name change in order to be able to meet ABRA's requirements. So that was what the second citation was related to. So the committee was pleased to be able to recommend to the commission support for the renewal of the application of the license.
Thank you. And do we have any feedback from Commissioner Lopez?
I have received no negative feedback from constituents, and I support the renewal.
Okay, so since you're at the airport, I'll go ahead and make a motion for you that ANC 6C support the renewal of the Class C tavern license for the passenger 1539 7th Street Northwest and communicate that support to ABRA. If I can get a second, please.
I second.
Okay, I got the second from, I'll give it to Alex Lopez. And all in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Is Commissioner Rogers back?
Aye.
I said aye.
Okay, we got all 6. Thank you very much, everyone. And on to the next item, electric Kool-Aid, item 19.
So do we have Ben Schwartz?
Let me see. Now I have to do that myself. So let's see. I'm not seeing him under B or under S. Let's just keep going.
Right, they did participate in the committee's meeting. So this is Electric Kool-Aid, a Class C tavern license at 512 Rhode Island Avenue Northwest. Hours of operation are 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday through Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Hours of entertainment are 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Hours of summer garden operations, it's primarily an outdoor establishment. Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. And in terms of investigative history, they have no investigative history. So the committee had no reservations in recommending that the full commission support the renewal of the license.
Wonderful. Commissioner Lopez, do you have any comments?
No comments. Support the renewal.
Okay, so again, I'll do the solid. I will move that ANC 6C support renewal of Class C tavern license for electric Kool-Aid located 512 Rhode Island Avenue Northwest and communicate that support to ABRA. If I can get a second.
A second.
Oh, and Commissioner Lopez with the second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I heard Kevin and Denise and Alex. Okay, that's all 6 of us. So no opposed, no abstentions. On to the next item, which we've decided to table. Unless we just want to quickly hear, Commissioner Lopez, do you have any comments on Quattro Osteria?
Yes, Quattro Osteria is, we're still technically in negotiation over a settlement. However, it's unlikely, given the terms that we're seeking. They do want to keep specific doors and windows open during hours when they're playing live entertainment. So I anticipate that it will go to a protest hearing, and we'll be requesting, I don't know if it's appropriate to request right now or during the budget period, I guess advanced authorization to retain counsel for the purposes of to represent the ANC at the protest hearing.
So before we go to that, what is the status of their license? Are they up? They're not up for renewal now? Did we considered them just a couple months ago?
We protested their, they are a restaurant license, and we voted to protest
Right, okay.
a couple months ago, yeah.
So we have an open protest that has not been resolved yet.
That's correct, So I'm not requesting any change to that open protest at this meeting.
Okay, so thank you for that update. Do you need any support from the committee, from the commission at this time? I guess you're going to ask for some budget.
Yeah, not at this point.
Okay, sounds good. I will go ahead and move on to the next item, which Alex is resolution requesting that DDOT install traffic calming measures at the intersection of 6th and Q Northwest. Hope you're in a quieter place.
Michael, can I ask, can we move to the 6004 resident only parking? I just need about 5 minutes to get myself situated, if that's okay.
Sure. So let me.
Well, this is exciting.
Yeah, we're living on the edge over here, shuffling the resident.
All about 6004 and all about parking, our favorite topic.
So let me get, I'm happy to pull the resolution up.
Oh.
Commissioner Nigro, if you want me to share that.
The draft.
I
sent it to you.
Sorry. I apologize so deeply. We skipped item 21 because I'm juggling too many things over here. Item 21, our long.
I think Alex wants to do that.
Our long-suffering DDOT representative is going to talk about 11th Street bicycle lanes. I'm so sorry about that.
Doesn't Alex want to talk about that? No.
That why we were going to move on to 22.
Okay.
I was skipping 21, and Victoria, deep apologies. Next time around, we'll get you earlier on the agenda so you don't have to sit through all the liquor license. Do you want to be able to share your screen, or do you want me to pull up so I think you should be able to share it if
All right,
you're
just give me 1 second.
welcome.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Can you see the slides? I don't know if it's
there we go. It's coming
hopefully.
up.
Okay, awesome.
It's a little small. Is there a way you can widen your window?
How's that? Let's see if I can make it a little bigger.
There we go. Okay, that's good.
All right, I'll kick it off. I was so worried you were going to skip me, so I'm so happy you didn't.
Thank you for calling me on it.
No, of course. Hello, everybody. For the commissioners I haven't met yet, my name is Vicky Cudulo, and I'm with DDOT on the bike lane team. Tonight, I'm here to talk about the 11th Street Northwest Protected Bike Lane Project, the segment that's in ANC 6E. And I did want to note that I met with the Transportation Committee last Tuesday to speak about this project. I want to thank all of the Transportation Committee members for their helpful comments and input. And they teed me up to come tonight to speak with you all about the project. Oh, and another point of background, I just also wanted to say that this, this effort is coming out of what's outlined in the Move DC plan, but also out of the resolution that 6E approved recently, which was for DDOT to explore putting in protected bike lanes on 11. So I wanted to thank you all for flagging that the ANC is open to and supportive of efforts to put in more protected infrastructure on the corridor. Okay, so a little refresh for folks that might not be aware of all of the different policies that DDOT has in place or the district has in place. The big question that could be asked to tee this all up is, why is DC installing bike lanes? And really we can point to a lot of plans and a lot of goals that have been outlined by the district, by the mayor's office, one of which is to have more sustainable trips made in the district. You can see this first bullet over here, that there's a goal to have 75% of all trips made by walking, biking, or by transit in the next 10 years. Obviously, we know that we have some changes we need to make to get to that goal. We also, I skipped a column, but we also have a bike master plan, which has determined our percent of commute trips by bike. And we're seeing that increase. And so we're looking to continue building on that by building infrastructure like what I'm about to share with you all on 11th. Also, unfortunately, we are a city that does have traffic fatalities and traffic injuries. And so the Vision Zero goals laid out by the district at DDOT is to make our streets safer so that we aren't having fatalities, we aren't having serious injuries when people are just trying to get through the city, live their lives, go grocery shopping, go to work, things like that, and make streets safer, not only for, you know, our children, which is in the Safe Routes to School program. We know that it's a big goal of the district to make streets safer for kids walking and biking to school, but really for everyone. So going a step further, you know, we've talked about why we'd like to install bike lanes in general. And now the question is, why do they need to be protected? And so we can point to a couple different resources that direct us towards that conclusion. And one of them is NACTO, which is the National Association of City Transportation Officials. It's a very reputable organization that we look to for guidance. And based on their guidance, 11th Street does meet the recommendation for a buffered or a protected bike lane or a fully protected bike lane. And this lays out by speed, by vehicles per day, by the number of motor vehicle lanes and other considerations to point towards that conclusion. And this is a really big point that I wanted to hit home from the Federal Highway Administration. Pulled this graphic, which is sharing a statistic that came out of a lot of research, which found that about half of the population is made up of people who would bike but are concerned about their safety. And there are people that would only bike if there were protected bike lanes or separate bike lanes. Whereas there's a very small percentage over here, about 10 to 15%, that are comfortable and confident enough on a bike to be biking on an unprotected bike lane. And so really, if you think back to the goal that I had on one of my earlier slides, where we're trying to shift the number of trips from driving to biking, we know that we need to provide facilities that aren't just safe or comfortable for the small minority of bicyclists. We know we need to be addressing that large population, about 50 to 60%, by making protected bike lanes. Oh, and just at the top, I'm sharing that we know where we are today and where we'd like to go, or where we need to go. So just looking at an example of a before and after, where you can see on the left, this is on 11th Street, further north of you guys, but on 11th, where we have unprotected bike lanes. This is where we see what we see in some parts of the city right now. This is what we were able to build years ago. And then on the right, you can see on K Street, this is what we're moving towards at the agency or at the district at DDOT. We're moving more towards buffered, so having space, and protected, having bollards or concrete stoppers or anything to put some protection between the bicyclists and the drivers. We know that this is a way to encourage people to not drive and to travel by bike. We do have a track record of success of successful cycle track projects. I'm sure you all know, you travel around the city every day, but just to point out a few, there's 17th Street, 15th, Pennsylvania Ave, a very obvious one that very noticeable because it's right near the White House, or sorry, near the Capitol. Just many projects that are around the city, and you can see differing ways that we've tried to bulk up the protection over the years. And at any time that we can, we make it as robust as possible. On the right here is an image taken from 17th Street. So what is the project scope? Oh, actually, you know, I think I meant to include a note about the Move DC plan. I think, oh, I apologize. This one slide is one too late. Wanted to touch on the Move DC plan. This is a really important slide. So this is showing the existing and future bike infrastructure laid out in the Move DC plan, which was the result of a lot of work. And this culminated in a document that we point to as our directive from the mayor. And so you can see in purple the streets that do not yet have bike facilities that are intended to have bike facilities, and in green where we have some sort of bike facility right now. Something I do want to call out is that just because we have a bike facility there now doesn't mean that it's up to the standard of what we would build today. If we were building a totally new bike lane, excuse me, on 11th, where there is a bike lane right now, it would be protected. And so when I'm presenting these concepts with you all, I just want you to remember that, yes, there is some infrastructure in some parts of this corridor or in some parts of your ANC on 11th Street, but we are looking to make it up to standard, up to today's standards by adding that protection. So what is the project scope? It is, not a small project. I am looking at 11th Street all the way down from L up to Monroe. The entirety of the project does look all the way down towards Pennsylvania, but our friends in the transit delivery team have been working on a bus priority project that is going to be including protected bike facilities from Pennsylvania to L. And so that is already in motion. That's already moving through towards construction next year. And so while that is a part of the vision for this corridor, and it is going to happen, my focus is on above L Street because that's the part that still needs to move through the concept and the design process. Also just wanted to call out that this project also is looking at Vermont Ave from Logan Circle to Florida, but tonight I will be only focusing on the section that is in 6E. So 11th Ave in 6E for this project focuses in on P to S Street. You do share that with your neighbors to F. And so please know that I'm going to be sharing this, the same information you're getting is what 2F is getting and vice versa. There's going to be no difference in the information or the engagement. It will be consistent, but just wanted to point that out. So I guess now getting into the details of it. This is an aerial showing the segment of this corridor in 6E. So this is looking at from P Street up to S. This is what I shared with the transportation committee last week. Again, I want to say thank you to them for talking with me about this concept. And you'll note some key things. One is that we're envisioning the bike lane against the curb. That is the vision for the whole corridor, and it would echo what is already going to be constructed south of L. So we're looking to have that continuity where the bike lane is against the curb, and then we have a buffer, and then the parking or the transit adjacent to that. And so you'll see on this image, the green is the bike lane where we're envisioning that against the curb. Where we will have parking is shown in orange, and then the bus stops are shown in blue. I do want to note that the transit team has not, they typically look at our where the locations of bus stops are when we get to the design phase. And so there might be some situations where they're looking to shift the stops to make them operate better on the corridor. They wouldn't be making, gigantic changes to the network of bus activity on the corridor. It would be more so to help operations move, help the buses move through the intersections in a smoother way. I also wanted to call out, I don't think I mentioned this at the transportation committee, but we do have a capital bike share station in this stretch of the corridor, as I'm sure you're all aware. Something else that I should back up and state is that I believe you all are familiar with the livability study that DDOT led and worked on last year. And part of that livability study was to look at intersections along this corridor and to look at ways to make it safer for pedestrians, safer for everybody. And so coming out of that livability study, there were some concepts that were developed, and those were then handed over to our traffic engineering team. And so I just want to note that I am coordinating very closely with Tessie, with our traffic engineering team, to incorporate the pedestrian improvements that we can, while also making sure to include the protected bike lanes in the design as well. I think I hit everything I wanted to note on this slide, so I'll keep moving. So this is looking from another angle, a little bit easier probably to visualize. So this is from P to S. You can envision that we're, like I said earlier, planning to have a bike lane against the curb with a buffer, a parking lane, and again, a small buffer, and then 2 driving lanes that would allow for bus activity. So making sure that these dimensions can fit our buses, and then the same thing on the other side. So just a mirror image there. So protected bike lanes, parking on both sides, a two-way road. Something that I should call out is that there is some diagonal parking on this corridor that would become parallel. You can see in this image, it is envisioned as being parallel parking, and that is how we're able to fit in all of these different modes and create space for the bicyclists. So I am sure folks have comments and questions, but I just wanted to take a step back and say, again, we know that this is an improvement that is necessary for the existing facilities that we have and or a necessary change just to bring it up to our standards of today. Like I said, when we build new bike lanes, we build them with protection whenever possible. And in this situation, it is possible. And like I said, we'll be referencing and we'll be working with the folks that took the results of the livability study and coordinating closely with them to bring their vision to life with protected bike lanes. And yeah, I guess I just wanted to end by saying, like I said, I'll be sharing this with 2F. My hope was tonight to obviously answer questions and get your comments, but also specifically hear thoughts on the concept being able, sorry, let me say that differently. At the Transportation Committee, there was a question of whether there could be a resolution to support the concept. It's not necessary for us to move on to design, but it would be a nice something to reference back on that we did share this with you all and you were supportive of our concept. So I can pause there and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks so much for that presentation. Commissioner Lopez, do you have any comments and feedback from the committee?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to thank DDOT for spending so much time with the committee as well as the ANC. This is a project that ANC 60 voted at our October meeting to request that DDOT study converting the existing bike lanes to protected bike lanes on 11th Street. And so I'm pleased that we're already so quickly moving to the concept phase. There were a handful of, the committee was generally supportive. There were a handful of recommendations. One being that if during the design phase, the transit team determines that bus stop consolidation is beneficial in this area, that is consolidating 2 bus stops on the northbound and 2 bus stops on the southbound into 1 bus stop in each direction, that also be implemented in a way that improves the quality of the bus stop, including such important features as bus shelters and benches and other shading and protection from the weather. Second, the committee recommended that DDOT assess the existing supply of bike racks at the Banneker Park, adjacent to the skate park and dog park, and consider adding more bike racks to that area. And those were the suggestions that we came up with. Again, we were generally supportive and would, I'm going to make a motion later when it's appropriate to support the concept plans and request that DDOT move on to the design phase.
Okay, thanks for that. I think, well, while you've got your screen up, one of the things that I always question when I see parts of the roadway striped, I was like, don't drive here. Like, it seems like a waste. Like roadway space is always so contentious and everybody's clamoring for every inch. So like to have these double buffers here, it seems almost like a little wasteful. And maybe if there's a way that like you could use that for like a bus bulb out or something in the right spot, shift traffic over a little bit, make room for maybe an enhanced bus facility or something. I don't know, just a random thought. I couldn't make it to the committee meeting. So that's just what I see when I see this slice of the roadway.
Yeah, Commissioner Eichler, thank you for noting that. I was speaking with my colleague earlier today about this, and I think we generally refer to this as like a 9-foot parking lane. And so I apologize for any confusion with having that separated out buffer. But that exactly what you're saying. When there is space, we do want to use it the best way we can. And if it's as a necessary buffer for parking, as being included in the parking lane, or whether it can be used in other ways, like you said, to improve bus operations or pedestrian activity, we definitely aim to do that. So thank you.
Okay, so I think you can go ahead and bring your presentation down, and then we'll see if any other commissioners have any questions about this project for Vicky. Okay, not seeing any comments from the community. Feel free to raise your hand or type something into the Q&A. And I'm not seeing anything there either. So yeah, I guess, Alex, did you suggest that you were going to make a motion?
Yeah, I was going to move, and I circulated draft text of a resolution. But generally, a move to that ANC 6E support the concept plans for protected bike lanes in 11th Street Northwest from Pennsylvania Avenue to Monroe Street Northwest, including curbside protected bike lanes and parallel parking lanes between T Street and S Street Northwest. And that we communicate this, and further that we request that DDOT move expeditiously to the design phase, and that we communicate this to DDOT.
Sounds good. Do we have a second for this?
I have a question.
Oh,
So,
sorry, would you mind, wait, let's, there's a motion on the floor. Let's
I'm
either
sorry, I
second it-
apologize. It just popped into my head.
That's okay. So do we have a second, and then we can have a discussion about the motion? So I'll go ahead and second it if no one else will. All right, so now is there any discussion?
So Victoria, I have a question. So, I mean, there has been some concerns about communication with these large projects involving the bike lanes with the community. What are you guys going to do about this with the community? I mean, Alex does his deal, right? But what is DDOT going to do?
So I think generally engagement with the community is through the ANC meetings, the transportation committee meetings, which I think is a process that we've started just a few weeks ago. And the plan was definitely not to just come this one time. I'll definitely be coming back with I would definitely be bringing back designs that would share in more detail what the roadway would look like with the project. And so between now and then, we will have a project website that will be up for the community, and I'm happy to help circulate that. If there's an avenue with an email avenue that the ANC has, I'm happy to draft up some text to put in the blurb. I'm happy to get creative.
So here's my suggestion, and I've had very high level conversations with DDOT. Members on this call are very aware about the lack of communication with the community. I mean, I communicate with my constituents ad nauseum. Let's make that clear. But as you know, there's concerns going on with the Upper New Jersey Avenue project, and I feel the same thing will happen with this one, that DDOT has got to do something more with the community. It's one thing going to Alex or our website, blah, blah, blah. But you've got to get some boots on the ground or do something, because this will happen and people will claim, I don't know, and all this type stuff. I mean,
So
there you go. There's my point.
Do I hear a friendly amendment that we put in a clause that
yes,
that DDOT be more proactive about sharing plans with the community, including perhaps flyers or mailers?
I think that's a
to
great
ensure that
amendment. Thank
everyone
you.
along the corridor who may have their parking or curbside impacted receives due notice.
Yes,
Just relying on the ANC to do your outreach.
That's great. Can you say that again? Because
We got it on the recording. I don't know.
Okay.
No,
because Victoria, you're going to get caught in this again and again and again. And frankly, I am done hearing about it. So, because my people have been impacted. So,
Michael, are there specific community organizations that in your single member district that you would point DDOT to?
no, DDOT needs to get on the ground and do their own outreach. I have talked about this to the upper management of DDOT, and they have got to do a better job with this.
Right. I mean,
So there you go. I like his friendly amendment.
If it's okay with the chairperson, the commissioners, I might just ask one or two follow-ups. Because I want to make sure I understand and I want to make sure I have clarity. The request to have flyers, that's for the section where between T and S specifically.
Wherever this is going to be impactful, whether it's beyond our area or not. I mean, wherever this is.
So there's a motion on the floor and there's a friendly amendment. It's moved in second, and then there's a friendly amendment. So let's go ahead and just see if we can make the motion happen, and then maybe we can have some additional conversation about what exactly.
And I can call you offline. We don't want to waste time tonight. I can talk to you offline.
And I'm trying also to add your colleague Will to help answer some of these concerns, but we do have a motion and it has been seconded. So
Can you help me understand the amendment? Is it generally to asking DDOT to increase public engagement?
Their communication, not depending on you or the ANC, they need to get there for these larger bike lane projects where it's impactful, they need to get the word out on their own.
As the person who voiced the friendly amendment, it is to request that DDOT do raise community engagement and raise awareness of customers whose
Yes.
curbs will be impacted by the project, right? We were just
Don't-
back from what we heard about. Okay, moved, seconded, friendly amendment, all in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry, wait,
Sorry, I'm calling the question. Are we?
that's not how friendly amendments work, Michael. Okay, I mean,
Sorry, the question has been called, so either we vote it or we repeal the motion and we start with a fresh one.
Okay, I'm fine. I think that DDOT would benefit from a little bit more direction from us. But
When we can give them that direction in the text of the motion, then when I send the letter to them, it'll tell them what we're asking for.
They love hearing from me.
And it won't be prescriptive, it will be descriptive as to some options that they may have, but we want to see some engagement to customers whose curb spaces will be impacted directly by the project.
And this will help DDOT, and I mean for all my
I'm
DDOT,
calling
this
the
is gonna
question.
help
All in
you.
favor, say aye.
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 Do we have Kevin? I don't
Aye.
have.
Kevin.
Oh, we've got Kevin. All right, we've got 6. So no opposed, no abstentions. Thank you very much. Now that we can continue to have conversation about outreach, but welcome Donovan and welcome Will. Do you have any feedback for us that you want to share?
Sure. I'll just, if I can share some wisdom from my former boss, Jim Sebastian, who I think many of you remember as our former Planning Sustainability Division Director, or Associate Director. He said, people don't need to like the project, but they should know about it. So I think that's the sentiment that we're after, right? And so we do try pretty hard. We often do hang tags on everyone's door. We've done mailers in the past. We do, if insofar as you have access to neighborhood lists that you've assembled for emails and things like that, we do try to alert people by those methods as well, through communication through the ANC. So I'm not letting you off the hook. You guys have a role. Like that's what you ran for, and that's what you got elected on. Is you are going to be a conduit to your community to share with them things like that. So we're gonna keep you on the hook to tell people, but we're gonna also do our due diligence. And there's always room for improvement in reaching out to people so that they know about these projects. And hopefully, I know it's really fun to spend our Tuesday nights together. But there's a wealth of information about why we do these projects, not just that we are going to do these projects. And we'll try to find ways to communicate what that is in a short form, maybe something written, because that's really why it's important. And that's why Vicki and when I do presentation, we spend so much time talking about why are you doing this thing that's going to change my street. There's some really big and important reasons that go beyond just our local and day-to-day issues. That's why we're doing it. So I'll turn it over to Donovan because he does this engagement on a day-to-day basis as well. But just from our standpoint, there's always room for improvement, so we're going to work on that.
Absolutely, thank you, Will. And yeah, as said, we're always looking for better ways to kind of to come forward with you all, to work with you all to better disseminate this information. So anything you're going to pass, the amendment and everything. If you have suggestions, please let us know. Again, I know Will had mentioned, any kind of shared email list you all have, maybe to your specific SMDs, or if you have specific ones for, everyone who frequents the transportation committee meetings, anything like that. If you want to send those, or we can create some kind of shared form where we can send that out as well. Again, happy to be looking to, get things done in a more productive way and to get it out to more people. So any great ideas you all have, please put it in the resolution. And if not,
Hey,
we got a lot of brainstorming here too.
Donovan, do you guys use Nextdoor? I don't recall.
We do not, and I'm not sure if the policies are doing anything officially through there. I would have to talk to my manager about that.
The mayor's office uses it. I see Miss Irving on it.
Okay, if the Mokers are doing it, then it's probably a little bit less.
That's a positive.
We could
Yeah,
also use the
I'll have to
Mokers
talk to
help.
our Director of External Affairs, but that's certainly something I'd be open to doing.
You could also use the Mokers to get your word out if they're already using that platform. You don't have to use it yourself. But so let me, as this is going through on the edge of my SMD, and I will not be in the seat when it gets built, but you know, we are doing the best we can with the tools that we have. We don't have a lot of tools. This is your day job, right? So if you're going to impact people's curbs and their parking, you really need to do a better job of letting people know, so we don't get surprised halfway through the build when people come to us and say, where'd my parking go, right? Like, we were trying the best we can to get the word out, but we would really help. Again, this is your day job, so you have the resources of the district. Send out a flyer. It's not too hard to find the mailing addresses of everyone along a corridor and send them a postcard, right? That's something that you can do that you could really help us out with. So any other further comments? We've already kind of beaten this one to death. This isn't the last time you'll get a slice of this apple, so you can come back and tell us how you plan on doing outreach for this corridor when you do it at the next time, or maybe you just won't come back because we've scared you so much.
I'll help.
I'll be around.
Sounds good. Okay, well, I really appreciate all of you DDOT people, and I'm excited that 9th is getting built, and I'm seeing changes every day, and it's coming along, and just can't wait for that to happen. It'll change my route to work, and I'm really excited about it. But I am also responsive to Rochelle's concern, Commissioner Arguo's concern, that we don't want to have to deal with the surprises that happen when other people don't get the word that these projects are going on. So. Thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you.
to see you guys. Feel free to stick around. We're going to talk about more transportation stuff. Okay. Okay. So now on to item 22. They couldn't get out of here fast enough. All right.
Michael, is this 9th and or 7th, 6th and Q?
Yeah, 6th and Q.
Okay. Would you do me the big favor of pulling up the resolution, and I could kind of give an intro?
Did you see my comment?
I did, and I'll talk about that.
Okay. Okay. 6th and Q, 6th and Q.
So yeah, I'll just go ahead and start the introduction. Unfortunately, in late September, on their walk to school, a Seton Elementary School parent and student were hit by a driver who was coming eastbound on Q Street and turning right southbound onto 6th Street. The parent and child were riding a scooter in the crosswalk on the southbound leg of the intersection. It was, by all witness accounts, a very traumatic experience. There were not only for the victims, but also for a number of young children who were witnesses and had to have conversations with their parents about traffic safety and how specifically how drivers can't see kids. So thankfully, the parent and child in this situation, we don't think that the injuries were serious, but we do think that whenever there is a crash involving a child, it is serious, and it deserves to be responded to with some degree of urgency. As a result, I worked with the Seton PTO and the Seton principal to host a traffic safety walk on October 4th with Seton parents, with the Seton community as well as neighbors in our ANC. And we met with DDOT and Ward 2 Councilmember Pinto at the intersection of 6th and Q. We also looked at 7th and Q, but this resolution really focuses on 6th and Q because that's where the crash occurred, and 6th Street is a pretty big street on the intersects with Q, and then Q is described by a lot of parents in the area as a student superhighway in the morning. If you ever go out there between the hour of 8 and about 8:45 in the morning, you'll see just tons and tons of kids and parents and caregivers walking both directions on Q Street. So safe routes to school and traffic safety there is super important. As a result of that walkthrough, the Seton community and neighbors helped me compile a list of traffic safety improvements that we're requesting that DDOT implement. And these include both interim improvements, things that can be installed quickly, which I'll go through, as well as a longer term reimagining of 6th Street as more of a residential street that's safer for all road users, but particularly young children. Michael, if you could scroll down to the next page, please. Just kind of the list of, I just want to kind of walk through quickly the list of interim measures that we'd like to see, and I'm moving in this resolution. So in addition to requesting that DDOT conduct a transportation safety investigation, requesting that DDOT also implement the following strategies to calm traffic at 6th and Q. Prohibit right turns on red at this intersection. Install flex post curb extensions or turn hardening at each corner of the intersection. These slow drivers that are turning, it was a driver that was turning when they hit the student and parent in this situation. Install a raised crosswalk across Q Street Northwest on the east and west legs of the intersection. Raised crosswalks bring the level of pedestrians crossing the street up to the curb level, and they indicate to drivers that they're entering pedestrian space when they go into the crosswalk. And they also slow drivers that are coming down Q Street and entering the intersection. Increasing the duration of the walk signal across 6th and Q. A number of parents stated that young children walk slower than adults, and that the current 35-second walk signal that we observed in the morning may not be sufficient for the young students that are crossing there. Installing a roadway mural. So roadway mural in the kind of the flex post area that would be created by the curb extensions. DDOT recently installed a roadway mural at 6th and O as one of the outputs from the Near Northwest 3 Safety and Mobility Study. And roadway mural, in addition to being a way to invite the community into activating an urban space, and that's maybe something that Seton Elementary School can do, participate in, but they also, there are studies that show that road murals do additionally calm traffic in the areas where they're installed. The final two are assigning a school crossing. The final two are installing a school crossing guard at this intersection. This may actually require some additional budget, so we'll see about that, but we can request it. And then finally, installing automated traffic enforcement or cameras, including red light cameras and speed cameras on 6th Street, not only to deal with the morning student commute, but also issues with speeding that neighbors observed on 6th Street during the off-peak hours. So that's a long list, but those are all things that DDOT has the capability of installing at this particular intersection. And I think that we need to be bold and we need to respond to the crash with some urgency. The last thing that we are requesting in this that was discussed extensively is that 6th Street, as it currently stands, is in many of the parents' opinions overbuilt, and also the neighbors' opinions for the volume of traffic it carries, as well as the residential context, the context of the neighborhood that it bisects. We felt that a road diet, which would reduce the number of lanes from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, could be a good longer-term solution to more systemically calm traffic on 6th Street Northwest. And that's something that this resolution requests that DDOT take a look at, study a road diet, and come back to the community with recommendations and plans for how to implement a 4-lane to 3-lane road diet. And these road diets are actually very effective at reducing conflict points between vehicle to vehicle crashes, as well as between vehicle and pedestrian and vehicle bicyclist crashes. So it's something that we we think that 6th Street could really be a great candidate for this type of treatment. And we would encourage through this resolution DDOT to study this treatment for 6th Street.
So Alex, go down to my comment.
Yeah, do you want to, I mean, Commissioner Niger, do you want to?
Yeah, so I mean, but you're making a generalization, we certainly understand the part about the corner and all that. That was a horrible situation, and I get, but your resolution is not really about. I get that part about the resolution, but I feel strongly that it should not be about the entire conversion of the street, because you have not done any outreach about for the constituents down here. You're making an assumption, and a large part of that constituency down here involves the United House of Prayer and the other religious institutions. And there are very specific things about the parking and all this. And with them not being a part of the dialogue, and the other constituents, right? And the other constituents, that should not be in this resolution. Keep the big part about the corner and all that, but this bigger ask, that's a whole nother ball game.
Well,
which I get, and I think it should be, but I don't think it should be part of this resolution without other stakeholders, because how do you know? I mean, you're talking about your constituents up there, but how do you know what's going on down here?
We're talking about, I feel like we need to be more visionary. Like, we could do spot treatment at specific intersections, but if we have streets that we know to be dangerous, we have an imperative to at least request that DDOT study traffic calming treatments that treat traffic safety issues on a corridor basis, which is really what you need to do in order to, create widespread change. And I acknowledge that there will be a lot of opportunities between DDOT, potentially taking this up as something that they study and then presenting plans or presenting concepts. There's a lot of opportunity between now and when that may ultimately occur for there to be community outreach. We don't need to
talk to people,
constrain ourselves at this point because we haven't talked to everyone along the corridor. I think that
you have not experienced a United House of Prayer churches situation clearly like I have. So I ask that you remove that, because you want to engage beforehand. That is smart than to make this assumption. Don't make the assumption that everyone south of that area is okay with this idea of a lane reduction. I do not, as to, because you mentioned that we are okay, or we would like this. That's your area. That is not south here. So you can't assume that.
Study.
No, but everyone should know, I'm giving you guidance, Alex. I am giving you guidance, and this is, you should just put the word out, and it'll be, if you put, just like we talk with DDOT, I'm telling you, communication is the way to go, and making the assumption that you want to have this narrowing of lanes is not the right assumption.
So do we have any additional?
And I'm not saying it's like a bad thing or good thing.
Do we have any additional comments from commissioners?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about kind of both approaches. I do think, as in general, if the resolution would address areas outside of just your SMD, Alex, it would be good to have a kind of consensus position in terms of moving a resolution forward. And if that means more discussions in Rochelle's area, I think that's reasonable. Ultimately, I'm supportive of this concept. I mean, it's horrible to have a traffic safety accident. It's even worse when there's like elementary school children involved. So I think this is obviously the right thing to be pushing forward. But I guess that's my comment on that dichotomy of I don't know, call it like the visionary versus like the transparency forward approach.
Any additional comments? Do we have any comments from the community about this?
Just make a separate resolution, Alex.
We have Willie D. Let me ask Willie D what Willie D wants to say. Welcome, Willie D. You popping over? Hello, welcome. So Will, you're gonna have to unmute yourself. And asking to unmute. Do we have a comment from Willie D? Mute button is in the lower left-hand corner if you're on a computer. Okay, I'm not able to get Willie D's comment through. Feel free to type in the Q&A and we can address your comment there.
So that's my point. I think I don't like not like it per se. I just think it needs to be a separate whole agenda item.
Well,
I mean, there's the idea. Move it forward another time, but sticking it on with the other one, it just doesn't seem appropriate. And it for my thing is, you know, I'm all about talking and letting people know, and that would not be a good thing. I'm just letting you know.
So we can make a motion and we can vote on it and we can, right? It doesn't sound like you're going to get a unanimous vote if you were to make the motion right now, Alex, but that doesn't stop you from.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and make the motion that the ANC adopt the resolution as written.
Now I'll second that motion. Do we have any further discussion on the motion itself? And hearing none, all in favor of the motion as written, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
So we've got, is that two? 2 yays. Do we have any opposed? One opposed. Commissioner Blackson, are you going to vote on this one?
Sustain.
You're going to abstain, and also Patrick?
I'll abstain as well.
Okay, sounds good. Well, now we have it.
I tried to help you, Alex.
I'll see if Willie D has been able to talk. Willie D, are you coming through?
So the motion passes, right? There were 2 yays, 1 nay, and 3 abstentions.
I voted no.
One.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
Yes,
coming through,
Willie.
but I've got some feedback.
I'm sorry.
Before we get to, can we just revisit the vote?
No, me.
Okay, I think that the vote was 2. I counted 2 yays, 1 nay, and 3 abstentions. So that the motion would carry.
We've
Two
only got
abstentions.
we've only got 5 people voting right now, so it's
Or
2
two
yays,
abstentions,
1
1
nay,
nay,
2
2
abstentions.
abstentions. The motion carries.
That is my understanding of this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Willie.
Yes, actually, I'm thankful for Rachel speaking up on this evening. I am a part of United House of Prayer, and definitely we would have a problem with Alex Lopez's resolution going through about reducing lanes on 6th Street. As you know, the United House of Prayer holds at least 4 major events during the year, every year, like clockwise. Plus, with all of the residential units that we have along 6th Street, not just the apartment units, but we have a lot of housing that we own along 6th Street. So it's already, you have 1 lane southbound for parking, 1 lane northbound for parking, and then you have your traffic lanes going up and down. So how can you reduce those 4 lanes to 2 lanes? That means somewhere some parking would be taken away. And I would definitely be putting this word up to the top head of our church organization to be prepared to do what we got to do to stop this resolution.
So I appreciate that, Willie. Let me just give you a little clarity that this actually wouldn't move the curbs, right? The proposal is to just change the orientation of the existing lanes, and it actually might reduce. It might actually, result in more parking and not less, right? This is just about the travel lanes and potentially increasing safety by adding a turn lane in the middle so that cars that are stopped to turn left are protected from cars behind them. So it potentially could be a safety increase and potentially a throughput increase for the corridor and potentially a parking increase for the corridor. So that's what the study is for, is to evaluate what the road could be and ensuring that the users of the corridor are all getting their needs met.
Just know that the House of Prayer will be watching.
Hey, Willie.
And
Hey,
we want
Willie.
you to, yeah.
Hey, Willie, you know I represent many members, so I got you. I'll let
Yes,
you
ma'am.
guys know. Don't worry.
And,
Yes,
and,
ma'am.
and we want your participation in this process.
Yes,
We're all in agreement on that. I appreciate your comment this evening. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay, on to item 23.
Okay, so this is Q and 8th Street.
Yes, I'll pull it up.
Yes. Okay, great, thanks. So this was, Michael asked me to add this to the Transportation Committee last week. And it originally came from a neighbor that lives on the corner of Q and 8.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt. Do we only have 3 commissioners on now? I'm only seeing 3 of us.
I see Patrick.
Oh, Patrick and Denise are here.
Okay, my display is freaking out. It's just I only see the 3 of you now. So
Yeah.
I'll trust that it's working and I will share my screen.
So hopefully this one, we could get through this one pretty quickly. This is an intersection that's not, it's also on that Q Street student superhighway corridor. But the problem that the neighbor brought up is that there is a stormwater inlet in the curb on the corner, the southeast corner of this intersection, and the metal in that device, in that contraption, when drivers take that turn too quickly, they lose pieces of their car, or they get cars that are disabled in the intersection and need to call a tow. And so the neighbor was fed up with having to pick up pieces of other people's cars or call tow trucks. And we're not going to obviously take out a storm drain, but the solution that I think Commissioner Eichler originally submitted a TSI request for is to request that DDOT install turn hardening, at least on the southeast corner of this intersection, with flux posts that would prevent drivers from taking the turn too narrowly and hitting that storm drain. Additionally, there's some concern that there are drivers that are parking in the no parking area south of the intersection on the approach. You know, you're not supposed to park within 25 feet of the intersection, and it's signed no parking, but people still park there. So the other part of this resolution is to request that there be placed flex posts alongside paint that would physically prevent drivers from parking in the no parking area at the approach to the intersection. We feel that these two things, speaking with the neighbor in question, we feel like these two measures would address the concerns.
Thanks for that, Alex. And I'll say, as the representative there, and I've been standing there talking and watching cars turn too sharply and pop their tires and roll up onto the corner there. So having a little turn hardening there would be greatly appreciated. Any comments from the community or commissioners? Do I have a motion?
I move that ANC 6C, or Michael, this is your SMD. Would you like to make the motion?
Oh, sure. I will move that ANC 6C requests that DDOT evaluate safety at the corner of 8th and Q Northwest and look to install measures to harden turns and improve sight lines there at the intersection. If I could get a second.
Second.
Okay. And then Sorry, I'm just taking my notes here for Karen. And all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the Denise, that was a vote from Denise. My screen changed and now
Oh,
I can't
Kevin's
see
over
everybody.
here. Wait a minute.
That was me, Michael, who said aye.
Did say aye, so that was that 5 ayes? Okay, and I'm not there. Yeah, okay, there's Kevin.
Kevin is on the
Yeah,
attendees
I'm
list.
trying to move him over.
I
don't know what's going on.
I'm trying to promote him also. But yeah, I can't see Denise on my screen right now for some reason. So, and also the captioning was turning on and off. It's been a weird night. So, okay, moved and seconded. And then I heard, was that 5?
So did it work? I'm sorry.
No, I don't see Kevin. I don't know. I can't see Kevin or Denise. So, wait, let me. Kevin's probably.
Kevin's not moving over.
Yeah,
Kevin.
Maybe he has to click something and he's not clicking on it.
Kevin, click.
On his end.
Okay, let's move
Okay,
on.
so I have to trust you that there's Denise on here. I can't see her, but I did hear 5 ayes. And any opposition? No opposition. There's
Can you
Denise.
see me?
And anyone? And any abstentions? No. Okay, so I mean, I guess I'll flag Kevin as a possible abstention since he's technically at the meeting, but maybe not. Okay, item 24, resolution requesting GDOT convert one side of several blocks of single member district 6004.
All blocks.
Only parking.
All blocks.
All blocks. Okay,
All blocks. So can you show that? I sent that. Can you show that?
You just show it. But
My little draft, short one.
Is what's been.
So
making my
this is in preparation. Well, and kind of what's already here. So just to be brief, for the past 2 years during the pandemic, I have not have a conversation about parking, and now it is the parking conversation is back full force. So, and the convention center, our neighbor to the west, is back online, as is the Capitol Run Arena. This is very impactful to our area, and needs to say they're parking lots or and I was talking to Teresa Dubois today. There is 1.1 million visitors, just pre-pandemic, 2019, 1.1 million visitors to the convention center. So people love to park in 6004. And so what I'm asking for is similar signage to what's down by the ballpark, where one side is for only RPP, resident only parking, and the other side be the 2 hours, but with extended hours. And that would be throughout the single member district. Now, whether DDOT will, no, I said a typo down there, will go for this, I don't know, but this is the proposal.
Okay, thank you for that.
Oh, and in Mississippi as a city. So the mid-city development project on the corner of 5th and M, this is also in anticipation of that. There's going to be 363 units, and potentially, once you have all those units, going to be 500 people dropped in, and there you go, more cars. So,
okay, thanks for that. And it looks like we do have, well, any comments for any comments from commissioners about this item?
Just that the PAC did review this at our meeting on Tuesday and was supportive. I do have a question, and I think that if the motion passes, Rochelle, can you more explicitly state what the signage at Nat Stadium?
Oh, I wrote it down. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Give me a second. Hold on.
So are you asking her to tell us, or are you asking her to put it in the resolution?
Just I would ask that in the resolution.
I'm actually going to take.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually take pictures.
Okay, and if we can include those photos in the resolution, we don't have to use our time now, Rochelle.
Okay.
To cover this, as long as it's in the resolution.
I wrote it. And I understand DDOT might, I'm sure there'll be a compromise with my friends at DDOT.
That's fine. I'm just looking at the time and
okay.
There's
Ben has a question.
We're all in agreement, I think we'll find out an agreement about this. So do I have a motion?
Oh, wait, Ben has a question, a community member.
Ben had noted that he was actually here for an ABRA item, and
Oh.
that ABRA item is long past. So Ben, I appreciate you coming in and raising your hand, but the opportunity for you to share is we can bring you back at the end under the announcement section if you want. But so do we have any comments from the community about parking at 6004 Convention Center? Okay, seeing none. Okay, do we have a motion?
Yep. I move that ANC 6E support the resolution that DDOT is install signage for RPP parking on one side of all of the blocks of 6004 and the other side be the 2-hour parking with signage that is similar to near Nationals Ballpark.
And is there a second?
Second.
From Commissioner Blackson. Okay, any discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
5, and we don't have Kevin, so I'm gonna mark him down. I'm not sure how to mark him down. Abstention with a question mark. Okay, and then let's move on to item 25. Office of Planning supporting the elimination of inclusionary zoning for exemption of downtown D zones. Would you like me to pull up that presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
And given the late hour, I will move through this quickly, but it is there, you know, it is somewhat technical. So if I'm moving too quickly or if people have questions, please let me know. Would it be possible to present to the presentation mode, slideshow mode?
I'm afraid if I do that, I might lose everybody, but let's find out.
So the Office of Planning is actually, they held a roundtable earlier today. I wasn't able to participate, but they're collecting written comments from, especially from ANCs through the end of November regarding how to leverage the inclusionary zoning program to expand affordable housing in the district. And this is directly related to one of the issues that we talked about last month regarding the development at, I believe it's 1001 6th Street Northwest in 6005 that was going to deliver about 500, in one concept, deliver about 500 units of residential housing, but was under no obligation to deliver inclusionary zoning, which are inclusionary zoning units, which are affordable units up to 60 to 80%, sorry, 50 to 60% area median income, because it is located in a D zone, specifically D5R, which is, it stands for downtown, D for downtown. And when the inclusionary zoning program was created in 2006, there was very little housing in some of these downtown and downtown adjacent areas, including much of Mount Vernon Triangle, Noma, and Navy Yard. So as a consequence, in order to incentivize the developers to build housing in this area, they removed a requirement that exists in nearly every other zone in the district, that any development with 10 or more units include inclusionary zoning units. So some of the zones that are exempted exist in ANC 6E, including in 6007, 6004, and 6005. And there's kind of a map is kind of hard to see, but you can see what's highlighted in yellow, that there is, this is a lot of Mount Vernon Triangle and some of the spaces that are adjacent north of New York Avenue, as well as some of the part of Noma that kind of comes over to the west of North Capitol Street. You go to the next slide. So inclusionary zoning, I kind of went through this. It requires developers to set aside 8% of residential growth floor area for affordable housing. And typically this is a trade-off. It is meant to incentivize the building of affordable housing through the, through the private sector, through market-based housing development. And typically there's a bonus density offered, so you get plus 20% floor area ratio if you're taking advantage of this 8% IZ. So you kind of do the math, you get some additional density, but then you have to include affordability in your project. And then the affordability levels are currently 60% of area median income or below for renters, rental properties, and 80% area median income or below for ownership properties. Next slide. The goals of inclusionary zoning is not necessarily the primary vehicle to generate affordable housing in the district. Rather, it is meant as a to ensure that high cost, high opportunity neighborhoods, which I would definitely classify Mount Vernon Triangle as a high cost, high opportunity neighborhood, making sure that those neighborhoods are accessible to a diverse group of residents, including residents of low and moderate income. So connecting these residents to high opportunity areas, and creating neighborhoods that are not kind of the exclusive enclave of the rich, right? We want to have in any neighborhood a mix of units that are going to be market rate and that would price a lot of residents, probably myself included, out, but also units that are affordable to those of us whose families make less money. Next slide. So I kind of went through a little bit of this. So the D zones, the downtown D zones, were excluded initially from inclusionary zoning to incentivize residential development in 2006. That's when IZ came into effect. But since 2006, there has been incredibly intensive residential development in some of these downtown adjacent areas, including Mount Vernon Triangle, Noma, and Navy Yard. And just focusing on Mount Vernon Triangle and Noma, these are part of what's in the kind of the comprehensive plan, the Central Washington element. And so the comprehensive plan has affordability goals for each of the regions within DC. And the Central Washington region has only built 298 affordable units, which is less than 14% of the mayor's 2025 goal for this area of 2,130 affordable units. So we have a ways to go in our neighborhoods to continue to build affordable housing. And the preservation of the exemption of D zones from the IZ program means that other neighborhoods need to pick up the slack in a way that is, it's continuing to subsidize an area that is incredibly lucrative to develop residential properties in, namely Mount Vernon Triangle and Noma. And it requires other neighborhoods within this zone to pick up the slack if we're going to meet our affordable housing goals. It's not really fair in that regard. Next slide. So okay, I kind of went through this. There's also a lot of elements of the comprehensive plan policies that align with the need to expand the application of inclusionary zoning to D zones. I could go to the next slide, please. And just as an example of what would have probably occurred had there been IZ in the D5R zone, where 1001 6th Street Northwest, where we had the BZA application last month. The developer had proposed two different options. One was 550 residential units, one was 489. The developer is proposing 0 IZ units, 0 affordable inclusionary zoning units by right, because that zone is exempt from the IZ building requirements. If the zone was not exempt, they would have had to build between 44 and 39 units of affordable IZ housing. So that's a lost opportunity. And there really aren't that many more opportunities in Mount Vernon Triangle and Noma. We want to make sure that it's important that we don't continue to lose these opportunities as they arise, especially in neighborhoods that are so developing so quickly. Next slide. So the reason why I'm bringing it up, this is not just coming out of the blue. Last December, the Office of Attorney General filed a petition with the Zoning Commission in case number 21-23 to eliminate the IZ exemptions from D zones. Office of Planning has, in my opinion, kind of moved a little bit slower slower than I would have liked to see in terms of setting this case down for a hearing. And at this stage, they're holding this public roundtable, which occurred earlier today, and also inviting comments from affected ANCs like ANC 6E about whether we would support or not support eliminating the exemption from inclusionary zoning for D zones. And they've told us that it's important that we get feedback to them this month, earlier the better. OP will summarize the feedback as part of a report to the Zoning Commission later in December about how to move forward with IZ reform, including exemption, this IZ exemption. And that's it. And so this is an opportunity. We have been noticed along with other ANCs that have D zones that are IZ exempt. And I think that it's, it's both the right thing to do as well as it's important to further the affordable housing goals and to request, I guess, that the Office of Planning support the OAG's Office of Attorney General's zoning text amendment that would eliminate the exemption from inclusionary zoning, which is an exemption that no longer is needed because housing is occurring in Mount Vernon Triangle at a very high rate. It is occurring in Noma and it is occurring in AV Yard, and we're building all this housing, but we're not building the affordable housing that would be necessitated if IZ was in place as it is in literally every other buildable zone in the district. And so I've circulated a resolution. It's actually more of a letter that kind of summarizes these points. And I think it's important and it's timely given the conversation that the ANC had last month. We don't have any leverage to get developers building in D zones to put in affordable units because they're exempted from having to do this. So that's essentially the presentation. I'm happy to talk any further, provide further details or answer any questions.
Do we have any feedback or questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I'll keep my comments brief because we're running short on time, but I just want to say it's a fantastic idea. I think it jives very well with the affordable housing goals that I think all of us as commissioners share and recognize are important. And speaking on behalf of the person who represents most of Mount Vernon Triangle and a lot of where this downtown zoning is taking place, I think this is a great thing to move forward. And Alex, kudos to you for kind of being in the loop on this, the fact that this was kind of in process and the fact that we can comment on it. So I think it's a good thing to do, and I encourage us to move forward with it.
Thanks for that. Alex, could you just briefly point out why is it that you think that the D zone restriction, the IZ not included in the D zone, is no longer needed or maybe never was needed?
Inclusionary zoning, as I mentioned, was the program was created in 2006 when there was very little housing existing in Mount Vernon Triangle, or at least the housing that was there is very different than the housing that's there today. Same with Noma, same with Navy Yard. And the exemption from IZ was put in place by Office of Planning as an incentive, as a subsidy for developers to come in and build residential housing without being encumbered with having to provide affordable housing through inclusionary zoning. At this stage, so many years later, it's 2022, we are nearly saturated in the Mount Vernon Triangle area with development. Like there are very few developable properties there. And it's important that we eliminate the exemption now so that we don't continue to miss opportunities to lock in affordable housing. I reckon that if this developer at 1001 6th Street was encumbered with the 8% IZ unit requirement, it would still be profitable for them to move forward with either of their two concepts. Developers in Mount Vernon Triangle don't need a subsidy that developers in every other zone in the district don't enjoy.
Understood. I'm just a little concerned, like maybe that project would have been a hotel if there had been an IZ requirement. We don't really know necessarily, but I think, I don't know. I'm almost wondering whether it would make more sense to just rezone these parcels to no longer be in the D zone, because then all the other rules still apply, right?
One of the things about the D zone is it also has to do with the allowable floor FAR floor area ratio. D zones allow developers to build up to the height, like the height act restriction with 100% lot occupancy. And I think that they're the only zones that allow that. So D zones are actually, like, they're very intentional about wanting to build density, and I don't think that we want to move away from that.
Well, I just think there's a lot of tools that we have, and I think it's IZ was probably intentionally excluded from D zones for a reason, right? And I don't know that I'm convinced that that reason no longer exists, but that's just my thoughts. So any other comments from commissioners? I can't see Denise if she's got a hand up or. Okay, so I have a question in the Q&A that we could read, or also perhaps Patrick or Alex, you could address it in the Q&A, but also that individual's hand is also up. So perhaps we put the Q&A on hold and we let this individual ask the question in the real world. So why don't we do that? So Mark, I'm bringing you forward. You coming through, Mark? Rochelle, are you a co-host? Oh, you're muted, so I can't.
No, I'm trying to move him over.
So you were a co-host. I think my computer is screwing up, so I'm going to make you the host.
Okay. Well, I can still do it from co-host. Oops.
I don't know. I can't.
Oh, there he is. There's Mark.
Okay, folks. Sorry, I just preemptively asked to be included as a panelist. So I'm not a panelist, but thanks for allowing me to do this. Yeah, I just want to say, I want to read. Okay. As a community member with a question, I'm asking you to put this forth. Also, as a person living with a cognitive disability, I ask for your understanding. Allow me to read my question as a reasonable accommodation. At the October meeting, a representative of the 1001 6th Street project developers, while making it very clear in their presentation that affordable housing is not at the present time a part of their plan, after I questioned them later, they then indicated that they would be open to discussing how affordable housing might be included in the plan, including having discussions with council and DC agencies. Have any of the commissioners had a follow-up discussion with the developer or any DC agencies concerning this door that has now been opened, or do you plan on doing so? At the Office of Planning Roundtable today, there was a great deal of testimony about the need to be creative in the ways affordable housing is created. This is an opportunity to explore that. I just want to add a personal bit to this and a comment. The people of the District of Columbia, through the council, gave the developers the opportunity to make lots of money in the District of Columbia, which they have. I live at 425 Mass Avenue, and EQR, Equity Residential, has been written up as having a fantastic turnaround with this property, which originally opened as a condominium, and in trade magazines for their industry, for the REIT industry. Also, I want to add that before moving here about 1.5 years ago, I lived in Logan Circle for about 20 years. My situation changed. I could no longer afford to live in Logan Circle and find housing. And as someone who would be eligible for affordable housing in one way or another, I can't find it. A lot of people do not want to leave their neighborhood. People in this neighborhood, their situations will change. They don't want to leave. And the folks east of the river in Anacostia, as an example, at the 5th and I Street project that's long been stalled, that empty lot, basically the people over on Martin Luther King Boulevard, Junior Boulevard, were outraged that there was dumping of more affordable housing on them. So I heartily endorse moving forward with this. We don't have many opportunities. I also want to say that many times, and I've heard this from ANC commissioners elsewhere, that we don't have an opportunity. We can't do anything about affordable housing at the ANC level. Well, I would say, yes, we can. Here's an opportunity. I would encourage you to do something about it and what comes out of this, as Alex has proposed. Thanks.
Right. Appreciate your feedback, and let's give the commissioners a chance to address your question.
Yeah, I can say that in terms of the specific conversation with the developers coming out of October, I'm not aware of anyone on the ANC having a follow-up conversation. And I think the reason for that is, as Alex put it pretty well in his presentation, the ANC doesn't have any leverage with this developer to promote the idea of affordable housing with them. I think we brought it up at the zoning meeting, we brought it up at the commission meeting, and we included it in the letter that we sent to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. The developer can just proceed on with this project, and the ANC doesn't really have a way to encourage affordable housing in another way, is my understanding.
I want to add to that, the mere fact that the door has been opened, you have an opportunity to talk with the developer and put it on record, put the developer on notice that this is something that's going to change. And I think that at least having the conversation, even if you think it's doomed, which is what I'm hearing, I think it's important to explore that and to be creative here. I don't know what that looks like. It involves somebody who has more of the urban planning experience that I do, but I would ask that we pursue that and make some inquiries and do that. And I really think that the REIT industry and the commercial residential industry has to understand that there's going to be a shift. Hopefully it's going to be transformational, and this is going to be a part of it. Thanks.
Thank you for that feedback. We have another question, Mr. Hart. Actually, I shouldn't assume Chris is a man's name. I'm sorry. Chris, let me promote you to panelist for your question. Hi, Chris, you there?
Yep, sorry, it took a second, Michael, to get connected. So I feel similarly to what Mark just said. I think, given that the ANC has limited leverage in that specific case at 1001 6th Street, I do think that this opportunity to push for the expansion of inclusionary zoning is kind of a no-brainer. It seems like a pretty straightforward way to generate more affordable housing. I do think it's a shame that it didn't apply sooner, because we could have gotten many more affordable units in the neighborhood. But I don't think that's a reason to not support expanding the applicability of inclusionary zoning now and potentially get up to 44 units at 1001 6th Street. And also, as office conversions happen throughout downtown, probably not in Mount Vernon Triangle per se, but this is just an important opportunity. And just two quick points. I think Alex's point about how basically by excluding downtown from inclusionary zoning, we're continuing to segregate affordable housing into other neighborhoods. And this is an opportunity to make some inroads into reversing that. And also, I did want to respond specifically to your point, Michael, about potentially developers making other choices about building residential developments in a D zone if inclusionary zoning applied. We haven't seen any evidence in other parts of the city that inclusionary zoning has slowed development. If you look at Georgia Avenue or H Street or any other major corridor that has been subject to inclusionary zoning, we've seen substantial development there as well. And so I think it's a relatively low burden on developers, and they're likely to still turn a profit. And I don't think it would disincentivize residential construction, because there's no evidence that it has in other parts of the city. So I know we're getting late here. So I just want to urge the commission to support this.
Thank you for that feedback. Any additional comments? Do I have a motion?
Yeah, sorry, trying to get off mute. Yeah, I move that the ANC 60 adopt the letter and resolution that was circulated with commissioners on Sunday, and communicate that resolution to the Office of Planning.
Do
I can have a second.
Sorry, second.
Okay. Moved and seconded, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
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 Okay, looks like we are unanimous, 6 votes, 0, 0. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lopez, for bringing that to our attention. Look forward to signing the letter. On to the treasurer's report.
Okay. So we have done a lot this month. So I sent y'all the additions that were going to be added to the Q4 report. So Alex, while we still have you, when are you going to be back? Because I need your signature on these reports.
Not until the 14th.
Okay. I'll talk to Dawn, and because I think one of them's due the 15th. So I'm always in discussion with her. So either way, okay. So wait, Michael, can you flash the 2 documents that were sent from Dawn? That she's going to change one of them, but at least I can show that email from very late last night.
I don't know.
This kind of has the cover. I think can I do it?
You should be able to. Yeah, I don't think I have them in the top of my inbox any longer.
How do I do it?
Share screen. Yep.
Wait, here, this one here. Oh, this one I have up. Okay, so this one. This is kind of like the cover sheet. How do I move this down? Can I move it down? Wait a minute.
Can you just like
wait here? Here. Oops. Can y'all see that?
We're only seeing your email. We're not seeing the attachment.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. Can I promote? Can you bring it up?
I would have to.
Well, anyway, so it's the cover sheet. Let me just describe it. Hold on. That has so everyone knows I'm now the treasurer. So I sent the commissioners today the copies of the canceled checks and the spreadsheet and what else I sent? A whole bunch of stuff that's going to be added to the Q4 report. But these let me talk through then. Okay, so all the checks were cashed. And so the ending balance in our checks is for for Q4. Or so this $71,189.82. And then
so I think I can pull up.
No, I got it. And then so that's it. So that's it. And we got our allotment September 12th for $4,449.80. So what I'll do,
showing helpful.
So that's everything. So these are all the invoices that are going to be added. So Frank had done part of the Q4 report, and then I'm adding the September part.
Okay.
So I'll be submitting this to Dawn, and then she will let me know if there's anything amiss, and then I'll wait for Alex to get back for the signature.
Sounds like a plan.
All the checks were cashed.
Okay, so do we need a voice vote approval of the treasurer's report?
Yep. I move that ANC 6E support the FY 22 Q4 report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Alex Lopez seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Did I hear Denise?
Yes.
Okay, thank
Aye.
you, Denise. That's unanimous. Thank you so much. And then expenses.
So we have Karen's expense. She'll be transcribing the meeting of $250. My Xeroxes for the paper meeting agenda is $49.23. And then what was it? Is it 99? What is it? It's every time.
Zoom likes to like put.
Did you get the?
I'm looking for it. I don't think the cost went up. Here it is. Well, yeah, payment processed on the 19th of October.
Okay.
And the dollar amount was $99.63.
Okay, so just could you say? Oh no, I can get that receipt.
I'll just forward it to you.
Okay. Okay, so I move that ANC 6E reimburse Karen Yaley for $250 for the transcription of the meeting, for the meeting minutes. Oh wait, can I talk? I want to talk about myself. Okay, then me for the copy of the paper agendas for $49.23, and Michael Eichler for the Zoom meeting of $99.63.
And is there a second?
Second, I was on mute.
Okay, thank you for that, Denise. And then all in favor, vote by saying aye.
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 Alex, was that a yes? Your mask was on and your hand was off the screen.
Oh, I forgot, Michael, I have to announce it. So just
Sorry, so
for.
let me just verify that was a unanimous 6 and no opposition and no abstentions.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And
All right.
then just for transparency, Alex is now on the account for writing checks. That addition has been made. And then, so about 10 days ago, I received a cash box from former Commissioner Michael Brown with $200 worth of cash. So I inquired to former Commissioner Alex Marriott and who am I forgetting here?
Well, ANC, right?
And there's another commissioner. I'm out of brain. So anyway, no one seemed to have remember this about the money.
Frank,
So
that's Frank.
Oh, that's Frank. That's right.
How quickly you forget it.
Frank gone. This is why Dr. Frank. So there was no recalling of this. I don't recall it from a long time ago. So nonetheless, we now have $200 with the cash. So my question is for the commissioners. My preference is we do not need this cash. I would like to deposit it in the account, but for the Office of ANC, they said, talk about it with the commissioners. And is there anyone against that, or?
Should we just make a motion and vote on it?
Okay, that's good. Anyone care?
So
what else do we do with it? I
make your motion.
Okay, I move that ANC 6E deposit the $200 of cash that I received from former Commissioner Michael Brown into our account.
Okay, and second? I'll second that if no one else will. And all in favor, vote by saying aye.
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 Did I get Denise on that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All
You're
right,
welcome.
there we go. Unanimous. Thank you for that, Madam Treasurer.
Wait, let me double check if I got everything. So, because this is.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, great. I think we're good here.
Okay.
Okay. Great.
Sounds good. Okay, so Alex Lopez, did you have another?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the process is, but I'm requesting, I guess, pre-authorization for an expense of two expenses, $7,500 for to retain counsel to represent ANC 60 in the protest hearing for Rito Loco El Techo, and additionally requesting $7,500 to retain counsel to represent ANC 60 for the protest hearing of Cuatro Osteria.
So I think technically you're asking for an amendment to the budget.
The budget has, we amended the budget in December of last year to add, we moved $7,000 into a procurement of services account with the anticipation that we would be protesting at least one of these establishments. So we have $8,000 in that account, but according to the bylaws, any expense over, I think, $250, I need prior approval from the ANC.
But so, I mean, my understanding is that if we update the budget, then that acts as prior approval. Is that not correct?
I'm not sure. I would maybe defer to the
We could cover all of our bases, or maybe Madam Treasurer has some input for us.
No, I don't at the moment, because I'm fairly new at my role here, so no,
Right.
so I don't know.
I mean, considering that.
Why don't we just update the budget? Why don't we just, I mean.
Right, so let's just update the budget so that it
we can
includes.
update the budget. So just from a process standpoint, if I then engage this, the attorney that we've used in the past to represent us,
then it's a budgeted expense, and then we can approve the payment.
then we can approve it and pay it with the ANC checkbook.
As part of our normal payment process. So let's update the budget to have all the money you need, and don't limit yourself to 7,500 per, because
Yeah, that was gonna be my question, Alex. And what if it's more than that?
the year's
So-
almost over. The year's almost over. ANC 6E is almost gone. So like toss
there's been a lot of
a bunch of
inflation.
money in there, and if you need it, you need it, right? Let's not limit.
Okay, so what's, I mean, what I would do is I would take it out of grants. I think, because I don't anticipate, and let me know if there are other commissioners that are going to be raising grants in December. I don't want to preempt that, but we have balancing grants that I think we could transfer over to
Make your proposal, and if anyone doesn't agree with it, then they'll speak up.
Okay, propose that we move $10,000 from the grants item to account to the procurement of services account in the budget for the purposes of legal representation for the 2 protest hearings.
Okay, and do I have a second? I mean, I'll second that. Do we have any further discussion? And finally, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, was that a aye for Kevin? All right, that's unanimous also. So we have now moved $10,000 to the procurement of services from the grants bucket in our budget, so that we can then potentially hire a lawyer to help us protest these. Thank you for that, Alex. Are there any other financially related items here at the end of our agenda?
No.
Okay, in which case I will then announce that the next, well, I do have one hand up from the community from Ben Schwartz, who invite you to address the commission now, if you wish.
And then I do have one other item during the, I guess, old or new business section.
You know, we never had an older new business section. We just have announcements and then it's over. So,
well, this is related to ANC transitions, and I'd like to start a subcommittee or an ad hoc working group to identify issues with the transition, just in case there's anything we need to vote on at next month's meeting.
so does anyone, what does it take to establish such a group?
I don't remember us going through all this the last, I mean, I don't think it was that big of a thing. I think the biggest thing is going to be the money.
Well, yeah, the money, the like, I think part of, I think what this task force or subcommittee would do is identify all the things that we need to do to transition the materials and other things to the successor ANCs, because I don't see OANC giving us any sort of guidance in this regard, and I'm getting a little bit anxious about what we may be missing.
Why don't I reach out to, since God, you know, I'm talking to Dawn all the time now, reach out to, well, I guess I'm not sure when Miss Grant's going to leave, and just kind of, and she'll be able to bullet point what we're going to need. So
Yeah, there's certain things like for instance, we should take the ANC videos that you have been posting to YouTube and
Yep.
make that more official, put them someplace where they will live on.
Well, they used to be on our old website, but then that disappeared.
Yeah, and we might need to pay some money to host, and I don't know exactly how that works.
No, it's a widget. It's a widget. The widget was there.
There are instructions. There's a transition guide that includes instructions on what to do with the video. There's a cloud that we upload them to. Honestly, like my bedtime reminder just went off, and I haven't had my dinner yet. So, is there a specific ask that you need to ask of the commission at this point, Alex?
Yeah, I asked that the commission form a task force for the redistricting transition, with membership including the executive members of the commission, as well as any other commissioners that want to join.
I don't think we need anything so official, Alex. I just think we just need to get some direction.
Is there a second? The motion has not been seconded. So I appreciate your motion, but it is.
In that case, I'm gonna be pestering people with my anxiety.
Let's just, Alex, why don't you, when you
fine.
come back, let's work together. We don't have to make it a big deal, so.
Okay.
Thank you. So do we have any announcements from commissioners? On to announcement section. Okay, Mr. Schwartz, you've really held on here. Do you want to make a comment to the community?
Yeah, sorry, I just missed my allotted time before seeking support renewal of a liquor license at Electric Kool-Aid at 512 Rhode Island Avenue Northwest.
Yes, and it has been voted to recommend that we support your renewal.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate the council's time.
Do you have anything that you want to share with the community about your establishment while you're here?
We are closing next week for the season. We're going to be opening up again in March with a few changes and looking forward to serving the community again.
Thank you very much for coming out and being so persistent this evening.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great night.
It takes persistence. All right, there we go. So now we are on to the last item, which is, well, and the announcement of the next meeting, which is December 6th, 2022. And that will be my last meeting as chair and my last meeting. So Patrick's last meeting and a lot of other variables. We're not sure about the others. But anyway, that's the next meeting, December 6th, same everything. I move that we adjourn this meeting. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.